welcome all to the Ramble Report, where we talk news about the video games. And we got a lot of news about the video games here today. Loon is joining me as always on the ones and the twos,
In
the
the
producer.
pajamas as it's nice and late.
Yeah, well, I apologize, man. That's the issue with planning damn schedules with a 6 hour time gap in between us. Um, but yeah, that's I apologize. I have massive apologies, Loon.
Nah, that's just me ribbing you. Obviously, I think I was the one who brought it up to do it now, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. And yeah, it's an interesting news week, which we'll obviously get into everything in that front. Actually, I can't do this, man. We gotta fucking let's just shoot straight with the audience uh, out the gate because you gotta it's just so
Fresh on your
inauthentic
mind?
trying to. Well, it's just inauthentic. It's like me trying to fucking to uh act like, oh yeah, yeah, but it's just can't do it. Can't do it. Um so we the what's the quote? The doing the same thing over and over. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing
Yeah,
over and over and
thing
expecting a
expecting
different
different
result.
results. Yeah,
We we're gonna this isn't, nothing today or we're not making grand sweeping changes to the channel immediately, but we're definitely gonna have to figure some shit out with this YouTube channel here. Um, I obviously want everybody to enjoy everything that we put out, and I want to cater to absolutely everybody. And I definitely want the audience that we've built up to have the content that they look forward to and expect and all of that.
and
But at the
deserve.
same time, yeah. But at the same time, man, it feels like eh, honestly, ever since we changed the name from Unnecessary Rambling to Game N Ramble, there's definitely been a major fucking dip in viewership, like catastrophic dip in viewership, if we're being real. Which, if once again, if I knew what I know now, I obviously wouldn't have made that change, but I didn't think that the name change would really affect anything. Um, and so I'm looking at all the analytics. I obviously have all of that data, and I'm like, dude, we we spend way too much time doing this shit to uh, to keep doing it the way we're doing it, and for everything to continue just dipping down. And so listen, I'm not, this isn't me coming here today with like, okay, well, this is going to change and this is going to, I have no idea. I have no fucking idea what we got to change. It's been like a month or two or so since we've did the whole rebranding. Um, and yeah, I was just talking to Loon beforehand and it was like it was just such a bummer conversation. And I've always wanted to be completely direct and real with you guys. Like, I don't want to go through all of this news and shit here, which is a lot of fun news to talk about, but I don't want to be like sounding, you know, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, man. But it's
Well,
obviously
it's you want to make sure that you know the reason that because you can tell when somebody's feeling a little bit off and stuff like that, and this is the reason. It's not like sympathy seeking and stuff like that. It's like this obviously means a lot to us, of course, and we want it to succeed and with every fiber of our being. It's also just we pride ourselves on being transparent as well. We're not going to pretend that things are golden. They're not like
yeah,
crashing and burning, but there's things that we're just being honest of. Just they something has to change at some point. With
yeah,
did you want to touch upon one thing with the
yeah.
I'll happily lead if you wish.
Yeah, you can kind of go with where our
So
conversation was going.
we obviously try. We're still fine because when you've rebranded and stuff, we need to obviously then find things that are repeatable, things that when you think of a channel, you think of its identity and stuff like that. So we're still finding our footing with that. But there's certain things where we've looked at it and like, we enjoy making that, but that's that can't be the identity because they are just not doing well at all. And it's not only the fact that it's not doing well, because that would be fine within of itself. You know, when we throw out the odd thing here and there, and it's just like, okay, that didn't do well. That would be fine if that was the beginning and the end of it. But it then seeps into everything else. When something doesn't do well, that like really doesn't do well, it then affects the next video and the next video and the next video. And you don't think it would do that, but it does. Um,
So
so
what Loon is alluding to is the long form Game and Ramble radio episodes are rough viewership, and I knew that that would be the case. The thing I didn't account for is like the rough viewership of those potentially affecting viewership of other videos as well.
mhm.
Because, and this is something that I fucking read. I don't know if this is true at all, but I read that if YouTube, if, okay, so if a click through rate is really low for a specific video, if not a lot of people watch a specific video, well, the next video you make, YouTube is less likely to recommend that video because the previous video wasn't, it wasn't watched as often as your other content.
Mhm.
And so it's like it I'm wondering, am I shooting myself in the foot with the Game and Ramble Radio thing where it's like all of that content is going to be available in bite-sized clips. And would all of that content in those bite-sized clips do better as just the bite-sized clips? And then could you have the Ramble Report, as like the long form show for each
Yeah.
and every single week for you to look forward to at the end of every week? And it's like I'm trying to figure out, and I don't want to take that away. Like I'm not gonna, I don't want to take that Game and Ramble Radio, like the long form thing away from people, but it does become that thing where it's like, do you,
I mean, there's still
is
going to
it
be this.
worth?
That's the thing, though. It's not like the long form content's just poofing away. There's going to be something. And if you think about it as well, that's going to be. That's weekly, isn't it? This?
Yeah, we'll do this week. We can easily do this every week.
So I think, if anything, I think that's what might have also been the cause as well, is just too much long form in one week. Because there would be times where that would then be two big uploads along with the smattering of small uploads, which just isn't
Yeah,
enough. Like, that's too much. There's just not enough hours. So I think just saving the ramble report as the long, like, that's, I think that's fine.
yeah. And there was a comment by, it was Liam, correct, where they said something to the effect of there's just too much content out there
Mm.
in the ether, and it's like it was the bummer where I was like, man, I totally agree with you, dude. I totally agree with you, but how the fuck are we ever going to get noticed? Because there is already too much content. So when you have to break through in a world where there is too much content, how do you do that? By making too much content. So it's like this cyclical fucking vicious cycle of I don't want to
Yeah.
I if I'm being totally real, like you guys know. I've said it a million times. Those of you who have been around forever know. I would much rather Loon and I make a weekly show once a week. We do a podcast, we throw it up there, and then maybe I'll do a solo thing here and there, and it's like a couple videos a week on the channel. Like that is absolutely 100% what I would prefer to do. But if we're being honest, like what is the thing that's likely going to get any sort of traction? It's if we take that 3 4 hour window that we spend recording, chop that shit all up, and then it's like, okay, well, 7 days a week you got something new to look forward to from that, you know differing sort of styles of content that we'll create in that 3 hour 4 hour window. um but it's the thing where I still 100% agree with what he said. It's like there is
Oh yeah.
way too
No.
much fucking
Yeah.
content.
You're both right. That's the thing, and that's
Yeah.
what sucks. But back to the radio thing is that obviously the goal is to grow at some point, and the thing is when that's then affecting everything else, any progress we make either gets halted or it's backwards. I don't know if you if you felt that, because that's what it feels like.
Oh yeah.
Like, and that's being brutally honest, that sucks.
Yeah.
That really sucks because
Yeah.
uh, don't want to dwell on it too long, but yeah, that's that out in the air. So you're fully aware. We're probably, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Probably bench the
Yeah.
I. There's so many R words. Is it radio? Radio, right?
Game and Ramble Radio, yeah. Game and Ramble Radio. Yeah, that is true too. Game and Ramble Radio. Way too many R
So yeah,
words.
we'll probably bench the radio stuff for now. I don't know. It may make a return sometimes in the far, 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 far future in a galaxy far, far away. But for right now, it is not worth the squeeze because it's not even like it's something that we push out in like 50, it's not like it's 15 minutes that it takes us either. It's
Well, but
long stuff.
the thing is it's not even about it's not like hard work at all. It's we're already doing the work. All we're doing is we're pressing record on a separate thing and
Mm.
uploading the other like it's all the same amount of work. It's not about at
No, but you
all
do have to
that
still
it's
do the backwards stuff of changing the thumbnails and doing like that and
see
still trying
I'm
seeing to push that.
that doesn't bother me whatsoever. What bothers me is like if there is a and let me be really clear on that as well. Like that is totally fine. The workload isn't overwhelming at all. Like I'm not overwhelmed by, this is so strenuous, so stressful. It's really not that. Sure, it can be a lot at times, but like anything that you fucking love doing, like if you're trying to grow something, yeah, it's going to be a lot of times. My thing, I hate that I'm in someone's feed so fucking often. I wish I didn't have to do that. But the actual workload is like it's whatever. I can handle that. The thing is that if it is tanking other viewership
Yeah.
because that viewership is so low and so few people click on that, are they not going to click on or is it's not even
It's
are they not going to
it's
click
not
on it
gonna,
because
yeah, it's
that's
just
the
YouTube. It's the YouTube thing. The moment that it we're looking at it through the lens of a human, which is fueled by emotion and rational thought and stuff like that. YouTube isn't that. It's an algorithm. It's a machine. So the moment that it is fed information of like, oh, that didn't do well, why is it going to push the other stuff of that channel? It's got no obligation to do that. It doesn't have emotion tied to that. It's spoiled for choice for content, and the whole point of the algorithm for YouTube push the things that are most popular to squeeze people for ad revenue, to get them ad deals and stuff like that, to get them money. That's all they care about. So we have to also
and
just adhere to that rule in some
the
capacity.
exactly. And the thing that worried me, Loon, was like when I was looking at the back end and some of the click-through rates were through the fucking roof high. And the watch time was high and like all these things that typically when I see that, like when I see that early on in a video, I'm like, oh yeah, we're getting 1,000 plus on this one. And I'm like, I could call that with confidence almost every time. Ooh, click-through rate is it 8%? This one's going to 1,000 plus. And you're just like, fuck yeah. I would see click-through rate of 9, 10 plus for some of our shit, and it would end up at 300 views. And I'm like, whoa, that's something's way off. Cause that means that 10% of the people are clicking on it, which is way higher than average. And yet it's not breaking out of our subscriber bubble like
No.
at all. So that means it's not getting recommended to anybody who's not a subscriber at all. And that might even mean that it's only being like they're only seeing it through their subscription box, which is not fucking good because I don't think 99% of people look at YouTube that way. They just scroll their feed. I know I'm that way. I just scroll my feed. I don't ever look at my
That's
subscription
actually a
box
really good
in YouTube.
point because obviously I have the benefit of being a subscriber as well, double dipping, baby. So it sends me notifications, and I don't think I've ever got a like it's never pinged me in the YouTube app for one of them ever. I don't think
Dude.
it's shown me your GTA one. The review even popped up yesterday or whenever it was for Claire.
Mhm.
I don't think I've ever got a radio one ever.
Yeah. And so listen, we don't have to sit here and fucking
Don't worry, it's only 15 minutes of doom and gloom.
yeah. I'm sorry, man. And I know it's already fucking late as shit on your end, so we'll kind of we'll sort of rapid fire run through a lot of these stories here today. Um, but yeah, just to closing thoughts on it. It fucking bums me out, man, because I really want to do right by you guys, and I want to. It's like the unfortunate thing of you can't please everyone, and it's dealing with humans versus dealing with artificial intelligence, automated intelligence, whatever the fuck. Like it's dealing with algorithms and I would much rather deal with nothing but humans and deal with fucking making sure that all of y'all are getting the exact style of content that you want all the time. But um, yeah, I don't know, man. I uh, I think unfortunately we're probably gonna have to can the long form Game and Ramble radio episodes. Um, yeah. And just see what happens. You know what I mean? Just see if the videos see if the videos perform better when there's not so much content, when there's not so much because that's another thing. It's like if the view time is low, like if the watch time is low, that also negatively affects things. And
Yep.
is it people are watching the short form stuff and then they click on the long form stuff and they're like, "Oh, we've already seen all this."
Yeah.
Then they click off of it real quick. It's way too much shit to honestly for me to even say that I have any understanding of if I'm being real. Like I'm not smart enough to understand this shit, but I do know one thing that is fucking tried and true and will be true forever is that if you keep repeating the same shit over and over and expecting a different result, then you're probably fucking crazy. And I'm probably crazy anyway, so let's not double up on the crazy. Loon.
Some news now.
Um, news, yeah. Maybe I should have saved that for the end, but news, let's get into it. Uh, Naughty Dog has it feels so insincere, but fuck it, we gotta get this we gotta get this video done. Naughty Dog has another game other than the Heretic, Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. They are they're working on something else, and this is coming directly from Neil Druckmann. He did an interview and said there's another game that's being worked on in Naughty Dog where I'm more of a producer role and I get to mentor
Mm.
and watch this other team and give feedback and be like the executive in the room. I enjoy all of those roles, he said. So that is coming directly from the horse's mouth. Neil Druckmann's like, hey, we got some other shit in the cooker outside of the Heretic Prophet. Loon. This pretty much means one of three things I would assume. It either means Tlu 3, Uncharted 5, or new IP. Which of those three sounds the most appealing to you?
Oh, see that's a brutal way of wording that, man. That's a brutal way. Because you know that I'm fairly critical in The Last of Us. Is that genuinely like picked towards what would be most interesting to me or what I think they should do? How do you want me to answer that?
Well, tell me both. Tell me what do you think it's going to be like in a real world? What would you most like to see in your world?
Okay. So what I think it will probably end up being is it would be stupid of them to continue Uncharted right now in this sense, with the fact that obviously you have a TV show of a popular IP that still was kind of left up in the air. It's not like that story's been done in the games and that they've moved over to the TV show and stuff. Because what they claimed is it 5 or something seasons for The Last of Us 2 is what they want to make or something crazy like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, and we're what halfway through? Is it halfway through season 2? I've not watched
Yeah, it's
any of them,
something
so
like
you're
that.
gonna have to like you're basically you've hit on a lot of the notes of the game. You're running out of source material, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So I think you're gonna have to make The Last of Us 3 at some point in the next few years. Like it has to be pushed out somewhat soonish because
Yeah.
if you're hitting because The Last of Us season 1 was what 2023 or 4 was it 3 or 4?
23, 23.
So you're talking about a 2 year turnover for TV shows, and I think that's also a big eye opener for them. I don't think they realize just how quickly you can get them out
Yeah.
because they were like, oh yeah, we'll just do like a TV show and stuff like that. You don't understand like how the difference between games, because you would think that a movie and stuff like that is potentially harder, but the thing is that you're when you're doing a movie or a TV show, like there's no downtime. Like you are there constantly shooting shit because you're hiring that location out. Like you need to be done with it. You can't drag your feet like you can with development of a game because you're in an office with a game. You can take as much time as you want until you run out of budget. Um, so I think that's probably a big shock to them being like, oh shit, we kind of probably need to get another a Last of Us game out relatively soon. But at the same time, how are they going to get it out that quick if they do? When is this going to be
Yeah.
coming out? Because you're talking, how long did The Last of Us 2 take to develop? Like a good few years, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
And I
development
mean,
of big AAA games in the space now only take longer to make rather than previous,
totally.
especially with these Naughty Dog new games where you're talking about things getting bigger and longer. Like, are you gonna have to scale that back? Um,
Yeah. And I mean, you're probably right. It probably does need to be The Last of Us from a business sense for sure. Like that show is doing incredibly well with people who have absolutely no interest whatsoever in games. And hey, if we can get you into
mm-hmm.
games because of this show, then that's more PlayStations that are sold, and Sony is all for that. Um,
And then
Personally,
what I would
yeah,
want. This isn't realistic in the slightest, but I think Uncharted is fine to be left completely. I don't think they need to go back to that. You tied that. I don't want to. You pick up the torch as the daughter is. I know Uncharted is fun and stuff like that. I think you've kind of done everything. Like you would have to. It would be so much of an uphill climb to have to establish brand new characters and stuff, and try and like build up a massive, monument to do that. I'd prefer probably this is the one of the very few times probably just another new IP, something that isn't, because I know they have Intergalactic and that kind of is new in the space, but you get the feeling like it's probably going to be Uncharted esque. I reckon with that feeling, something completely new, maybe even a genre shift. Um, what that would
dude.
be, I don't know. Like what, because what I'm really like in my gut right now, what's bubbling up is like I don't know, like a Jack 2 kind of thing. Like I don't want Jack to make a reappearance because I don't think he has that. It's going to be the thing of like people thought they wanted Legacy of Kain to make a comeback, and it's look, man, I don't think you. Same like the original Tomb Raider, they don't shift all that many units and stuff like that.
Mhm.
You think that you want something until you get it, and you're like, this plays like shit. Um, I think something of that DNA, but again, just another new IP, I think would probably do them the world of good. Because that was also when Naughty Dog saw their most success. This is what people don't as well see. They didn't make, whenever they did releases on like the PS2 and stuff, I think The Last of Us is the first time, along with Uncharted after that, where they moved things over between generations. They usually just made a game on a generation and then left it, right? If I'm not mistaken. Because
So they,
Jack never made its way forward to PS3, did it? That was on PS2 and it died on that generation. Crash
I
Bandicoot,
think
where was
so.
that?
Crash Bandicoot had PS2 games, but that wasn't Naughty Dog
See, that's what I
in the
mean.
PS2 era.
This is
Yeah.
Naughty Dog specifically.
Hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
only been recently where they've kind of like brought that forward between generations. I think that could maybe be their hidden weapon. Just constantly keep people on their toes.
I love that about Naughty Dog. I really do.
Yeah,
That's like one of my favorite things
it's
is you really
what their
don't know
strength
what's
was.
next.
Yeah, it's what their strength was. So
Yeah.
if being able to predict and be, oh, another Last of Us, you obviously have Last of Us fans. You also have a lot of people, unfortunately, me being one of them, where it's just like I couldn't give a, I don't care. I'm not gonna if they popped up a trailer, it'd be like cool. I'm happy for those that want that. I'm not gonna be tuning into it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I if I could pick anything, it would obviously be a new IP, but you could literally ask me that about absolutely fucking anything, even my favorite franchises of all time. Like if you had to say GTA 6 or a new IP, but it's that core Rockstar talent working on it, and it's going to be that same level of production, same budget, all that, but it gets to be something that's outside of the Grand Theft Auto universe, like I'm going for that. Like that's just
That's a
I,
surprise.
I love new shit. I just love new. And I think that's probably one of the problems with my damn content is I'm all over the fucking place. I want to do
You're
this. I want to try.
mimicking it.
Uh, but no, I do think Uncharted 5 could be cool, especially with Caitlin Dever, who is playing Abby in Tilu season 2. She was spoilers for Uncharted 4, but she was Nathan Drake's daughter in Uncharted 4. And if you got her back to do all the motion capture, voice acting, yada yada yada, and there's some cool shit you could do, dude. Like I don't know, fucking Sully went on one last hurrah and ends up getting killed, and then like you're going to track down what treasure Sully was after, or even if you wanted to, like Nathan Drake gets killed and you're going to track down who killed him, or the treasures that he was after. And like I mean, I know it's simple generic shit, but there could be some cool like immediate investment that you have in the story. Um,
That would be wild.
and
Back to back
another one.
IPs where they knock off the main protagonist just so
Yeah.
casually. Fucking
Yeah.
Christ.
Dude, but imagine fucking imagine if they went detective like Alan Wake 2, fucking yeah, because they already have that pedigree for the incredible third person shooting, all that. But imagine if they take that sensibility of dark, gritty, but a tonal shift. We talk all the time about 70s Vegas or London, or like these settings that aren't often explored at all in games. Like I'd love to see them in London with like a fucking thriller, true detective style, third person. Dude, yes, give me some shit like that, man.
Mm. Yep. I'd be with that.
But
I want to see a new IP from them.
bro, imagine like the open section of Seattle. Imagine if they made a small scale, densely fucking interactive open world game where you could, I'm not saying huge, but like a small scale where you maybe have some car that you're traveling between these little blocks. I know I'm trying to turn everything into a GTA clone, but I would love to
No,
see
they,
Naughty
they
Dog.
they kind of resonate with that DNA in them newer games of like drawing inspiration from stuff like that with that. Um does Sony own the Getaway IP?
Yeah,
You could easily
I'm
throw
pretty
them. I
sure.
think they could do like a good crack at that if you wanted to like give that like a reboot.
Mhm.
Um where
Yeah,
everyone got to do well.
heists and
Yeah, no, exactly. And
yeah.
instead of because you wouldn't technically be competing with GTA because GTA is stuck trying to mimic modern day. That's the kind of thing that they've moved in with the when they went from San Andreas
Vice
and
City
stuff
to
and
yeah.
stuff. When it was that, what is the phrase of it? Because they're two different universes. One was the something, and then the whatever this new universe is. That's usually mimicking real day, keeping up with
Hmm.
modern times. You could easily take that getaway game and just be like, bring people back to like early 2000s, even like at the turn of the millennium, and just have that because that's what made the getaway so interesting for me as well. Is just seeing London stuck in that time. That was cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, that 100%, dude. I just I'm honestly down for any of the options. I'm not gonna lie. I just like Naughty Dog shit a lot. I'm down for
Make
Tilo
more
3. I'm down for
games.
Uncharted. That's kind of it. Just I
Mm-hmm.
want to see more from you because we would have had another Naughty Dog game by now, or at least one that's coming soon if it wasn't for Tilo Online getting canceled.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, speaking of things that need to be canceled, Marathon is it's supposedly this is coming from Paul Tassi at Forbes. He said, I heard Marathon needs to be in the top 5 of the MPD sales of the year to be considered a success. Top
Good
5
luck.
best bingo. That is the only those are the only 2 words needed for this entire story if we're being honest, Loon. Good fucking luck. Top 5 of the month? Maybe? Sure.
Nah, it's not
Top
even
5 of
getting there.
there's no chance it's top five of the year. Like there's 0.0% chance. And if I'm being real, all I really hope for this game is the chick that got her art stolen gets paid a boatload of money, and they're just
Didn't you see that
left
more
with
have come forward?
more artists that got their shit stolen from Bungie,
They haven't got as much like light
allegedly.
shone on it as she did, but there have been people coming forward and being like, is this like the best time for me to be like, you kind of took my shit as well? So that's still early in like, I guess, development of like what I saw, but it's just like, man, and it doesn't surprise me because this isn't the first time they've done it. It's like the fifth, something crazy like that. Like for fuck's sake, guys, how are you still doing this?
Dude, just roll the best of the best from that studio into, SIE proper. Make a small 15, 30 man team
I don't even want to run
and
any more of this footage. It's so shit. I'm sorry.
you you don't want to wish for people to get laid off who did nothing wrong, but it just seems like the water that they are drinking from is fucking rotten. Like that well has just been tainted. I don't it does listen, if it comes out and it's just like the most sticky addictive gameplay you've ever seen in your life, then hell, color me incorrect. I've been incorrect before, but I just don't see this working. I do not see this succeeding like in any
See,
capacity.
that's I'll happily start spewing the negativity side, the things over here. Being the person that obviously exposes themselves to many more online service games than you. When you have something that has this bad of like a negative thing tied to it, you don't it doesn't matter how good it is. It's doomed from the start, you know. It took what that one news thing of how long it takes to unlock Darth Vader in Battlefront 2. They didn't even care about the whole loot box thing as a whole at that point. It was the fact that they
Mm.
they learned that it would take like 900 hours of gameplay to unlock him, and that was it. That game fucking flopped big time. And that's Star Wars, for Christ's sake, where you have like you're appealing to the widest common, you know, fan whatever. Like this they if I'm remembering correctly as well, they were meant to be doing like a marketing campaign in like June or something, and they've decided to can it. Like they know the writing's on the wall. It's the thing of like you were going to kick it out. I could see this getting the exact same treatment as Concord. You kick it out and see how it, because how long was that on sale for? Like a week, if that.
Yeah, maybe two max, something. Yeah, it wasn't long at all.
I think that's the way that they're going to handle it. You just kick it out. If it starts selling, then they don't give a shit. And if it really begin, they just yank it off store shelves because they don't want to support the thing because they pulled the servers as well. You can't even play Concord, right? It's not even like they
No,
stopped selling it. Like it's just dead. It just doesn't exist.
dead.
And that's how I foresee this because this has no single player component, right?
Nope, zero.
The age of
And
live service, baby.
yeah. The only thing though is if they put it out there and then they can it, there's limitations to the tax write-offs that they can get. So I wonder, do they just kill it before? And so they get the maximum like what they did with
I don't think they
uh
can because it's so close. That's the only difference.
yeah,
You've gone and
that is
actually
really
you've
close.
canned the marketing for this for the upcoming month, but you've marketed so strongly
Oh my
throughout the entire beginning
God.
of this year. I think even doing that, you would have people that would be I don't know. There could be something that you probably chase Sony down after that. Like that's extremely misleading. Even if you do the refunds and stuff like that for the people that have pre-ordered it, that's just really bad taste. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's just a lose lose situation. Other than if the game succeeds, and if the game succeeds, something's clearly gone wrong. If I'm being
Yeah.
100% honest, like this doesn't deserve to succeed. I know we're talking about, I don't want people to lose their jobs, of course, but this we don't want this, and we don't want to be treated this way either. Of like you're
Yeah.
the art stealing, even to
Allegedly.
begin with, allegedly. Sorry, yep, need to remember that allegedly, five times allegedly.
Even after
Um,
they admit it, I'm still not fucking. I don't care, man. You ain't taking my single wide.
but just yeah, the way Concord, like I know Concord's meme to death and stuff, and people like to poke fun at it, but that's Sony just spitting in the face of their player base, just being like, oh, I didn't say, I just pull it. Like that's so. If I'm being honest, it doesn't get enough shit for what they did. Just blatantly just doing that. Like you talk about how badly Suicide Squad got ripped apart. They didn't fucking pull that off store. Like they sat there and supported it for what? An entire like
A year.
cycle of content. Yeah, an entire
Yeah.
year. They stuck by that shit. Ubisoft, people love to throw shit their
Skull and
way.
Bones. Yeah.
Skull and Bones is still up. Even like this is the thing. Skull and Bones is still. I know the crew. They
That was
that
shady.
was shady as shit. But you're talking like For Honor. Its second month of like release had like 30 players. Something stupid like that, and they're still supporting it. So I don't know. As a console leader, you're literally a platform, man. You don't have just put it into your service. What the fuck is wrong with you? Does that no? For me, that just
None.
makes complete sense. Just take that L with like, okay, you're not going to make money off of it, but you got monetization options, and they just put it into PS Plus forever. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Mm-mm.
Why are you ripping it away? It irritates me, as you can probably
I'm.
tell. Really irritates
No,
me.
I feel you. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you about something that irritates me, my friend, and that is that according to what is it, Mike Pondsmith? Forgetting his name. The original creator of the Cyberpunk universe may have given away information on a new cyberpunk or a new Chicago-like city being featured in the sequel. Spotted by Polish publication CD Action, Mike Pondsmith, the original creator of the Cyberpunk universe, recently appeared for an interview on the TVGRY channel, and was saying that Cyberpunk 2077 sequel featuring a new city inspired by Chicago gone wrong style of setting. Can't speak. Um, I I gotta be honest, I don't know if I necessarily love this because I feel like Night City already has a lot of similarities to that. And I mean, hey, if it ain't broke, don't necessarily fix it. Um, and I know
Yeah.
that there's a lot, like you could say it's a little bit more New Yorkish, it's a little bit more whatever, but it's I don't know. It just I kind of because he was talking about, it's not going to be this more Blade Runner-y flying cars. Like that's what I was and I know once again this is sort of pipe dreams. It doesn't really matter. I'm down to play, absolutely down to play the follow-up to Cyberpunk, even if it is more of the same, the storytelling and shit. That's really why you're tuning into a CDPR game. But it pipe dream, it would have been that kind of Blade Runner-y, flying cars, hop into a flying car and fucking like
I
I think
yeah. I think they got hit with a massive stick of reality though. See, with
yeah.
Cyberpunk, I think that was the kind of thing of like, yeah, Mantis Blade, Wall Running, all this stuff, and then when they finally got into like actually trying to make that shit function, they're like, oh, I see why Deus Ex probably grounded itself so heavily and didn't do that. That makes so much sense. So yeah.
And it's the thing too, dude, where like, yeah, if we're being real, probably scaling back isn't necessarily a bad idea for CDBR. Eh, You don't necessarily need to be doing everything and flying around in cars and let's try to just make a good sequel and have this thing come out because I'm assuming this will probably be 2030, I don't know, 2035, 2037, something like that before we ever play this
2077.
possibly. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like literally 2037 um before we play Cyberpunk 2078 or whatever the hell they're going to call it. Um
Cyberpunk the Chicagan experience.
I yeah, I think you're spot on. Just scaling, scoping appropriately and not being too overzealous is probably the right move. And when this thing launches on PS7 or whatever, let's hope it's stable.
Um, it is a bit weird though that because that's I don't know if I I'm hoping I heard you correctly, but that's complete opposite, isn't it, of that statement of scaling back, but also creating a brand new environment. If you were scaling back and stuff like that, if you've already built it, you wouldn't have to build it all over again. You would just have to tweak it. It's the reason Saints Row kind of pumped games out because they use Stillport every single time.
And then they used Steelwood though when they switched in 3.
I mean, it's fairly similar though with a lot of the stuff, right?
Nah, still, I mean, they're pretty different between 1 and 2 and 3, but I hear what you're saying that like
It's
Yakuza
changing, yeah.
obviously
It's,
is.
it's it's changing and stuff like that. So to be able to have to build an entire place from the ground up, I don't know. That feels like a little bit of contradiction in some capacity, but I can understand why as well they want to do it, because I want to give that counterpoint. Because you were saying about being surprised that that they would do move away from Night City and stuff. Um, they kind of squeezed it for all of it. Like I don't know if you can like they utilize that map to the best of their ability that they could. Obviously, there was tons of buildings that were unused, but
Yeah,
you can't do any more than what they like. It was pushing the limit as to what they had. I think what would benefit from them is building a brand new map, shrinking it down, and making things more interactive across the
for
board. Because
sure.
that was so cool having all the different skills and abilities, manipulating the environment and stuff. Imagine if you had entire buildings with that instead of just a building and then 3 miles of fuck all and then a building kind of thing. Like that's what I
Yeah,
like about Deus Ex is there's a lot of even in Mankind Divided in that opening uh, city thing where you come out of his apartment, you can go into every like almost every other room in that apartment. It's not just your
yeah.
apartment.
Pop open
You crack
windows.
open a vent and you go down and you find all these little environmental storytelling things. I think that's what Cyberpunk would benefit from greatly.
Yeah, I think my thing of saying scaling back is like it's some. So I know Cyberpunk CDPR with the level of success they had, I think that they are aware that they're in a totally different realm at this point. Like Cyberpunk is one of going to be one of the best selling games ever made.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like they are going to have to massively more so than just iterate. They're gonna have to create entirely new worlds and shit for people to go into. Because that's the big selling point with a Grand Theft Auto. That's the big selling point with a lot of game. Because I do think, and I know it's crazy, but people fail to remember the hype going into Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it was on par with the Grand Theft Auto, man. It genuinely fucking was. Not quite, but one of the closest things I've ever seen in my lifetime. Um, in terms of just anticipated game launches. And they totally dropped the ball. And so with not going totally Blade Runner, not going flying cars, not going, just way overboard, then yeah, I think that this gives me a little bit more comfort that this might not be totally fucking botched.
It also just sets expectations as well. Just popping that balloon immediately, because obviously people be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
sequel, so we will finally get flying cars." No, no,
yeah,
no, you will not.
totally. And I mean that is probably the right move. But
Yep.
next up on the chopping block, we have Stellar Blade getting a sequel. Speaking of sequels, Stellar Blade, the sequel to it, is supposed to release sometime before 2027. And then, as well, Project Witches is their new IP that is supposed to release around that 2027 window as well. Um, so Shiftup having massive success in the console market space with Stellar Blade and being able to expand and you know tackle a brand new game and a brand new genre. I believe they said it was going to be more of a sci-fi kind of thing for that Project Witches game. But Stellar Blade 2, I mean, I'm down to fucking jump into Stellar Blade 2. I thought Stellar Blade 1 was really fucking good. I hope that with their new sci-fi game, their new IP, I hope it's a little bit more story centric. Stellar Blade, that was like the big bummer to me, was there was absolutely nothing to give a fuck about at all in terms of the story, but the gameplay
Mm.
was really, really good. So that's kind of the one area that I think they need to get right. And if they get that right, then shit, they're gonna be cooking with gas.
Yeah, it also got recently a PC port, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So that's available over on. I don't know if it's out now, um, but it's nice to see it like obviously deshackle itself from only being playable on PlayStation. It'll be interesting to see how successful it is on PC because it feels like it should do well on PC. With the way the fans held themselves, I'm sure plenty of mods
Oh
will be
God.
topping pages about certain stuff.
Yeah.
Power to you,
Yeah, I didn't
people.
even think about that. Yeah, that was the craziest thing. That was like the big talking point around that game. And like I get it, chick's hot, but I don't know. It just that doesn't really like it's never going to be a detrimental thing. Like I'll
No,
always
no, of course.
prefer playing as a hot character than an ugly character, but if like that can't be the thing. You know what I mean? Like
The thing
the
that
thing can,
Yeah, the thing that baffled me is like, how are you saying it's going to be Game of the Year contender when everybody, well, it's not everybody, but the majority of people that were like bringing it to the attention and like puffing it up on like whenever they would mention it would never talk about anything other than that. And it's just like you can't be taken
yeah.
seriously, man. Because when people are then responding back and be like, okay, well, how's the gameplay like? And it's not even like them trying to poke your argument down. They just genuinely are like asking about it, like, okay, well, how's the gameplay play, and stuff like that. Is this like similar to like Near and stuff? And they just don't. Ah, man, Pretty Woman. It's like, dude, that can't
Mm-mm.
win Game of the Year
No,
with
not just
just
for that
that. What are
alone.
you talking about?
And it's like there's no I agree with people when they're like, they'd rather play as an attractive person than an ugly person. It's like yeah, I'd rather look at an attractive person than an ugly person for 20 hours. I don't even think that's necessarily some gooner take. It's just like but at the same time I'd rather play as a hot dude than an ugly
I
dude.
was about to
You know
say
what I mean?
I never, and that's not anything. Like I don't actively choose females to play as in games.
Yeah,
I don't
right,
know.
same.
It's just not like I can understand why people do it for that appeal sense of like you want to look at something appealing for you. I don't know. I just fail to be immersed because that's what I value much more is immersion and being like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Role playing is my. I like RPGs, man. What can I say?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
have a very particular choice when I do stuff.
Yeah, I always do the same exact thing. I create a dude that looks somewhat like me, but it looks like he's on steroids every single time. And that's my thing every single time. It's a slightly blondish, brownish hair, blue eyes, but fucking just juiced to the nines, jacked beyond belief. And then I let him go around and kill shit. And that's just I don't know. I've played games like that my entire life. I I don't even like ever really consider playing any other way. That is my default every single fucking time. So, yeah, I don't know. I never really
I always
like
go for like
sure.
the exotic races, like Asimo and stuff like that. I don't know. It's I don't know if you ever spoke about it because I spoke to my friend about it. If a religious faction exists, I will always choose it, even though I don't believe in like religion myself. It's such a weird
Mm,
thing. You would I don't know if that's
yeah.
like an uncommon take kind of thing. I find it a lot more appealing to do that. I don't know. It's just I guess the themes and story and stuff and being invested.
Well, and it's also like you usually get perks and shit that are
Mm.
pertaining to, especially in RPGs. Um, yeah, no, I get you. I I've just never like, of course, back Bayonetta and Blood Rain and Lara Croft and all that. Like, yeah, that they're appealing because they're hot and the games are good, and so it's not like I don't look down upon Stellar
No,
Blade for designing a hot character and having that be one of the main appealing points. But I also think it's just a bummer that people don't talk about how good the game is often enough. Like that game
because
is
I don't
really cool.
exactly. I have no idea how good the combat is. I don't know how good the story is and stuff like. Because that was the nice thing about when Near Automata got like praise and stuff. There was people who fixated on the character, but also like it's an incredible like story in its whole complete package when you're pulling all the endings together. Phenomenal game.
Yeah. And Stellar Blade's not a good story at all, but it is like that gameplay is fucking sick. Boss fights and stuff are absolutely sick. Well, let's talk a little bit more about expertise in the gameplay centric sphere. Housemarque is fully focused on single player premium games, no plans for live service titles in the future. This is from Eurogamer, and I actually found it from Shinobi602's Twitter, uh, one of my favorite Twitter accounts on the planet. So thankfully, Housemarque is one of the very, very few studios inside of Sony's ecosystem that seems to have escaped the fate of the live service salt mines. Um, thank God that they're not, because I do think that's one of those studios that you could easily look at if you're Sony and go, ooh, they have the stickiest gameplay out of probably any studio we own. They have addictive ass gameplay loops. How can we monetize loop by loop by loop? How can we loot boxify this? How can we microtransactionify this? And thankfully, it it seems that they're not gonna they're not gonna be forced into that. They're not forcing that square peg into that round hole.
Hopefully, it stays that case.
Yep.
Because like I know it's obviously they've announced that fairly recently. Things change, man. If Bungie sinks and they're looking around, they would be the next person to fill their boots. And I hope that that doesn't happen because, like you said, it's I wouldn't want them wasted on that. Because even when I had like the place like Returnal's fucking incredible. I didn't play their previous. Was it Resogun they made before that?
Mhm. Yep.
That was also apparently like really addictive. I never got the chance to play that, but fucking Returnal was impeccable from top to bottom.
Yeah, and it's also like I would really love if they're going to keep down this single player centric route. I would really love to see them tackle a story a little bit harder. And like, I understand that that's not their specialty is loop by loop by loop and just the most uh, kinetic, high octane action. And definitely, I don't want to see that go anywhere. But it'd be cool to see like something that is a little less uh, you know, roguelite-ish, a little bit something that is like a straightforward,
You want
even
them
if
to
it's just a
shed their
smaller thing.
identity.
Nah,
No,
not
I get it.
necessarily.
I
I
get it. It's this the type of thing like a what if scenario. If you could pull that
yeah,
gameplay into something that has obviously it's very good in its genre, but pulling that into a different genre that would heavily benefit from that kind of gameplay would be cool to see. But just with more narrative.
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
get that.
totally. It's just something that keeps me like I know a lot of people are addicted to the gameplay loops and like that's why they'll stick in. It's like I don't give a fuck. This is just so fun. I'm gonna throw on a podcast and just do this over and over and over again. And I get that to some degree. I'm like that with sports games. But for um, you know, for me to really see a game through, it's typically going to be the story. For me to see like a single player game through to its end, it's typically going to be the story that drags me through. But speaking of great stories, and speaking of a physical copy of a great story that I once had on a dream wish list. I don't know if you'll remember this, Loon. We did a video a while back where I was like, if we
No, you
could,
didn't add it in the playlist. Let me grab it. I know what it is
did
though.
that? Wait, what didn't I add in?
What you're about to. I d- Go, finish your thought because I think I know where this
Okay.
is going, but I could be wrong.
Um. Oh yeah, no, I see. I didn't add
Yeah,
fucking.
but I know
Okay,
what it
that's my
is.
fault. Um, yeah, but the so it'll be the new physical if you see that on the. Do you see that
I'll find it.
on the other channel on my other channel?
Oh, you okay? That fucking makes it perfect.
Yeah, I titled it new physical.
There we go.
Um, perfect. Appreciate you, man.
No problem.
That's on me. That one is on me, my friend. So yeah, there's this new physical label being introduced, and they got immortality
Mm.
as one of the physical games that I we were talking about that literally just the other week where I was like, man, if I could have any physical game right now, Any digital only game printed to a physical disc, it would be Immortality. And Immortality is now available physically. Well, it'll be shipped to you by Q4 2025. But it's Lost in Cult is the name of the website. And yeah, they got Immortality, the excavation of Hobbs Barrow.
Yep.
Thank goodness you're here. Um, yeah, so those are their first three, and they have like this sort of novel presentation to them. Just looks really cool, and they were only doing kind of the special editions at first, and then they started doing standard editions as well. So for people who just want the standard edition, that is going to be available as well. But yeah, I pre-ordered Immortality, and thank goodness you're here. Got both of those bad boys heading on the way sometime in the next hopefully before the end of the year. But yeah, they're partnering with Does It Play to make sure that all of the content is on disc before every single release. So before every single release, they're going to have every bit of content. You're not going to have to download any patches, anything like that. And yeah, dude, that's just kind of the perfect scenario for what a physical publishing label should do.
Yeah, 99%. I'm with you. It does. It bums me out a little bit because obviously there's one platform on there that they haven't obviously decided to platform with, and there's obviously reasons, of course, that they choose to do that. The thing I have a problem with is that they quoted themselves saying this because you get it towards the end of the video where it says built on the core pillars of prestige, quality, preservation, curation, accessibility, consistency, and transparency. It's, you know, if you've shipped a game on a platform and you're not putting it on there, but you're putting it on everywhere else, that's kind of not 100% truthful, then, is it? Of
But
preservation.
they're committed to preservation. They're committed in Xbox. You can't preserve anything on it
I
because you got to connect it to the internet.
But you have to do
So
that
it's
for PlayStation 5 now as well.
no,
You
not the
for the
no, not the base
PS5
one,
Pro.
the Pro, but not the base one. So like everything that you can make the argument that everything that they're shipping can be playable on a base PS5 without any sort of internet connectivity.
Like I said, that's why I'm 99% with you. I do feel that's a little bit cheap, you know, to me
I
personally.
mean,
They,
you got to blame your console
no,
manufacturer
of
for that
course,
one.
but it's the type of thing of like, I don't know, if you're willing to ship it on that platform, and then you shun it, it does kind of suck because it's like the thing of how the same feeling of Indiana Jones and stuff like that shipping on that, because I'm not for that either. That they should get physicals and stuff like that. So I'm always going to point that out, even if it is specifically done for a purpose. Like Microsoft chooses to do that for their reasoning. And what did you say the name of the people were?
Lost in Cult.
Lost and Cult. They obviously have their reasonings, but it will still annoy me, and I will still bring that up. Um,
Totally. Yeah. And I mean,
as a
they're
physical thing. It just when I see them specific words and then choosing to skip a thing, because I know what you're coming from, of course. That's the complete counter of it. But it just also when I look into words and it's just like, well, that's not 100%. That's you're it's the truth, but it's bending the truth.
But if you could make the argument, if they did ship it on Xbox, it would be going back on their word. It's a weird thing because it's like saying, "Hey, we're gonna take effort to
But
for preservation, and then we're going to put it on a platform where there is no preservation."
mm, I mean, LRG puts the RM free stuff on it and stuff. It's just splitting hairs. I just wanted to make sure that like I said, anytime
And
I will always bring it up. If I'm digging
and
out
it's
Nintendo for game keycards, I'm not gonna zip it here. Even.
yeah, there's no game key cards. Let's just to be super clear. Every
Hmm.
100% of everything's on the disc.
Hmm.
Um, it's all being tested through Does It Play and all that. It's you got to keep in mind it's a small business, and if they got to print 1,500 copies, what is the likelihood that 1,500 copies are going to sell on Xbox for?
No, of course, yeah.
Thank goodness you're here, Immortality. So it is. I understand it from a business sense as well. You gotta make some difficult choices and also understand it from a DRM standpoint. I listen, I'll tell y'all all about it. I ordered them, and if they come in there, like obviously this shit isn't sponsored by anybody. If they come in and they're totally fucking busted and shit's wrong and it looks
I
fucked
don't think
up
they will
and
be.
yeah,
They're with especially announcing the was it does it play how it plays? Does it play?
yep, does it play? Yep.
They I've got a few chuckles off them over the past few months. They've been going at fucking developers' throats on Twitter. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah,
Like they
they
are
do not give
fucking
a fuck.
relentless. Like not even just like announcing it. They like anytime they're like, well, you know, this and just absolutely brutalizing them. It's just like I
Yeah,
respect that. So
100%.
yep. Who better to partner with?
Well, and yeah, get your fucking bag. Does it play? I hope they're getting some decent pay for that because that's, I imagine, going to be pretty exhaustive research that they're going to have to do there for because they're doing a new game every single month, if I'm not mistaken, or a new batch of games every single month. So, Does It Play is going to have to go through, I
I mean,
assume,
they
all
already
three
do it. To be
games.
fair, they do shitloads of testing, like
No doubt.
loads already. So I think it'll be kind of. I'm not saying it obviously isn't an extra weight load, but I think they should be doing just fine. They get that information done really quickly for what they do.
Mhm. Absolutely, man. Well, speaking of Microsoft, Carrie Patel, Avowed's director, left left Microsoft for Netflix games, heading over to lead up the Oxenfree group. What is the name of that team? Night School, the team who made the Oxenfree games. And this is just after shipping Avowed, obviously, um, right before the Outer Worlds 2 releases. I assume she just got paid a shitload of money once again and was like, yeah, fuck it. Shipped a bunch of games over here with Obsidian. Worked on, I believe she worked on the Pillars franchise. Um, so she's, I, I'm assuming she got a good offer, an offer she couldn't refuse, and jump ship to Netflix. But it does make you wonder, of course, after Avowed releasing and not really making much of a splash at all.
No.
Some sort of any.
Um. Yeah. I don't know. We see this all the time, though, isn't it? You see some of these news stories where people jump ship, and then it is genuinely because of a dumpster fire launch, or they don't like the direction, or it genuinely is just you're the best at what you do and you've just been bought out. So we won't know fully, I would say, until the Outer Worlds 2 launches, I would say. If that comes out and it's kind of shaky and is like, ooh, that's not a good landing either, then that's probably more so being pushed than going yourself, I would assume.
Yeah, well, she wasn't working on the Outer Worlds 2.
Oh, was she
She
not?
worked on no, she
Okay.
worked on the DLC
Okay.
for the Outer Worlds 1, and um, I believe she was the I believe she was the lead narrative designer on what was it, Perils of
Gorgon.
Oregon or what? Yeah. Um, and so she shipped that and then shipped Avowed. And yeah, but I do tend to agree. I think that pretty much everything she's done has been of a pretty high quality bar. So I would assume that Night Dive just, or not more so Netflix than Night Dive, just made a fat ass fucking offer and just go head on over there to Netflix games. I do worry about kind of the future of Netflix games because they made all those cuts last year to, I believe they were working on like a kind of service based game. I know
Yeah.
they had some ex Halo talent, some Bungie talent over there. Um, and yeah, I know they made a ton of cuts. I think they canceled that game entirely. So I, I just don't necessarily trust Netflix's like long-term commitment to the game space. But once again, if she's looking at, multiple fucking zeros
Yeah. You
on
don't
the end of
care.
that paycheck,
Yeah. You
yeah.
don't care. Because you if you get that paycheck, because there's a signing on bonus, I would assume, for big names
Oh
like
yeah.
this. Like, you get some level of compensation. Um, it's like the Stadia thing when they were going and grabbing here. Everybody, it's like, yeah, that's probably not good. Like to technically have on your resume, really. if that thing like crashes and burns, because that kind of puts you under that flame. But you're being paid so much, do you really care?
Hmm.
Probably not. And I think that's probably where this ends up landing, because I don't have any faith in Netflix to make any splash in the gaming space. I don't know what can they offer that nobody else really does, other than games through the app. But I don't know, man. When you're sitting to boot up Netflix, that you're just sitting to watch something more so than play something. And I don't think they're ever gonna like shake. They're not gonna be able to hit that strike balance of having somebody. I'm gonna boot up Netflix to play a game. I don't think that's ever gonna happen, personally.
I think the right move would have been just to fund games
Mm-hmm.
and like fun games to be on real platforms and like,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems that they sort of
Publisher,
pivoted away from,
just be a
yeah, just be
publisher.
another publisher.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because that's the way
Because
it just works. I don't think trying to. I get why they're doing it though. At the same time, because if you can pull people in, that's more subscribers, so
yeah,
that helps Netflix overall. But I, I don't think that that's you're not a platform, a games platform. You don't have that kind of thing built into people's heads, even remotely. So I don't know. We'll see how it pans out. Best wishes
totally.
to the woman.
Well, let's talk about a game that should have been on Netflix instead of home consoles, and that is Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2 is heading on over to the old PlayStation 5 and it's coming this summer. Hellblade 2 is releasing this summer on PlayStation 5. Loon, I got to ask you, when is when do we quit talking about this? Like I kind of thought about this while writing down the notes where I was like, is this should this kind of be the last time we put this in a news story?
What? Hellblade 2
Like
coming to PlayStation?
no, just whenever Starfield gets announced, whenever Avowed, whenever South of Midnight is like saying, "Okay,
Uh,
it's time to launch." It's like, when is
uh,
this not an announcement anymore? I guess it's
I get what
important,
you're
but
saying. I get what it's kind of just par for the course. Is it really news?
yeah,
As kind of expected.
it's like saying EA Anthem's coming to PlayStation. It's like, okay, we get it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's nice for PlayStation players to obviously know that it is a definitive, because it is kind of that thing where it floats in the air of there could have been a scenario where this didn't for some reason make its way over, because when they look at the data, oh, we truly like bombed with sales or whatever,
Mm.
and it's like it's truly just not worth even trying to pursue that. But yeah, it was only a matter of time. I will say, in comparison to the other ones that you listed, I'm surprised Starfield is not the next one on the block. With if I was them, that would have been the next thing I would have put up there, because Bethesda's on a fucking red hot streak right now. What better way than to capitalize on PlayStation players again?
Mhm. Or
How good of that would have looked for Oblivion to be the best selling game on PlayStation, and then a few months later, another Bethesda game being the best selling game on PlayStation.
do you think
Um,
that's the thing where it's like they don't want to cannibalize their own game, so they're going to spread it out a
I
little bit,
I
wait
think
till
people would have fucking eaten that shit up immediately. Like Bethesda
mm,
games, I know like Starfield got a rocky reception, but it's the thing of, if I'm being 100% honest, that Oblivion thing isn't polished to higher heavens. It's still janky as shit, and people are playing it and loving it, and it's selling shitloads of copies. So I think if Starfield dropped, people would be buying that potentially even quicker. If I'm being
yeah,
100% honest, because it offers something again that's not being tapped. It's not a fantasy game. It's a fucking sci-fi game. It had a lot of hype,
exactly.
and it's a Bethesda. It has all of these things where it would just. I think it would fly off shelves on PlayStation. I think you could have even released it the month after Oblivion, and both would have continued to sell just ridiculously well, together hand in hand.
Dude, guys, anybody who does not own an Xbox or a PC, if you're a PlayStation or a Switch or whatever, if you've not played Starfield and Starfield comes to PlayStation 5 and it's something that interests you, jump into that damn story, just do the story, enjoy that fucking story, and then dick off after you finish the story. Like, I really think if people played that game that way, if they just played the story, which I know is totally antithetical to like how 99% of people play Bethesda games, but there really is a cool ass story and cool faction quest to see in there. But I do get it. It's like all of space. What a fucking great distraction. And then you go around all of space and you're like, wait, this fucking sucks.
To be fair as well, I think I want to just like point this out. With the fact that it launched into Game Pass, a lot of people don't seem to want to draw the correlation of there's so if you're buying a game, you will give it a lot more of a chance as well. If you have
Mhm.
any excuse to dip out of a game of any irk in a subscription service, you just will, because you have so many other things that you can choose from. That's the benefit. So I think it got a little bit more hate over on Xbox than it probably would have if they just sold it, because those who obviously, if it wasn't in Game Pass, you wouldn't just be able to dip in for 10 minutes, because the statistics come out for how many people actually left that first area. They clearly
Yeah.
didn't care. The same with Clair Obscure. Doing the gommage thing after that, the prologue, and how
Yeah.
like a huge, well, not a huge, but you're talking like 20% of people just didn't bother. So it,
And both are fairly slow
yeah.
openings.
So I don't know. I think if it dropped on PlayStation, you'd have people who would grumble about it, but I think it would get a lot more positive reception because you don't have that option of dipping in and dipping back out. Like you've purchased it, you'll
I also,
likely give it a lot more of a chance.
yeah. And I do think there's, not to get into this bag of worms, but I do think there is a section of the PlayStation audience who th- they are very, it's interesting watching their consuming habits change as these Xbox games
Oh,
begin to come to
oh,
PlayStation.
oh, yeah.
It's like,
I wasn't even gonna touch on that because obviously I'm the Xbox guy here. But that yeah, I've seen that. I actually I spoke about it in the Discord today. I was sick to death of seeing people be genuine hypocrites over on Twitter, to the point where like I just ended up blocking a lot of these big. They have PlayStation things in it, and they're just constantly being like, because people are like picking up their old tweets of being like, oh, Hellblade 2 tech demo, blah blah blah, and just dumping shit on it because it's not coming to PlayStation. And then the moment I can't wait to play this on my PS5 Pro, and it's just like,
oh,
can you just
Jesus.
have like some level of consistency? How hard would it have been when that game got announced to be like, oh man, that sucks, it's not on PlayStation, and that's
Yeah.
it. Just have that opinion. Why does it always have to be tear something down? Because we've seen it with
Yeah.
all of the games that have come out primarily
Or it's
exclusive
a
to, yeah,
indie.
exactly, indie being, and then being like, ah, that's a shit game, and then it comes and it's like, shit, it sold quite a few copies. That's a
Yeah,
head
and I,
scratcher, isn't it?
yeah, totally. And it is like I not to do the I'm the fucking most notorious fence sitter in the world, but to fence sit once again, it is kind of a both sides thing where you'll see like the Hellblade 2 will come out and people will be like game of the year and then they shit
Oh
on The
yeah, they
Last of
shouldn't
Us
have
for
given it
being
that
a
much.
walking simulator.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like,
There's
bro,
tempering
don't you
expectations as
ever.
well. So
It's it is it's just it's so funny watching like if that is your entire thing is to do corporate shilling, which that's crazy too. I don't know. I guess people just grow up in different eras and what the fuck, you can go on and on about that. But I guess I just grew up in an era where it was like always anti-corporate. Everything was super anti-corporate. And it was like, just shit on corporations was the was like 99% of the agenda. If you're talking about a corporation, you're shitting on it. Like there's no I don't even
or
I
even the
can't think of many.
corporations themselves would punch each other in the face with marketing campaigns. You know, Pepsi versus Coke or Burger King versus McDonald's and stuff like that. And it
Mm.
was like, I don't know. It's just a weird thing to be so. Why is everybody? Not everybody. Let me backpedal that. Why is there a certain demographic of people that are so frightened of criticizing even a
Yeah.
platform that you're on? Like, how hard is it? Like, what is Phil just gonna not allow you purchase the next Xbox game and he's not gonna let you boot it because you hurt his feelings? Like, fuck no. Fucking grow a
Yeah.
pair, man. What's wrong with you? Sat there and I
I
criticized Starfield so hard last year, was it, or year before, whenever it came out.
year before.
But
Totally.
it's the type of
Yeah.
thing, and I was saying it should be on PlayStation. It's stupid. It shouldn't. have just been locked down to Xbox. But and at the same time, like it sucks because that hurts the fans that obviously supported Bethesda. And I hope that's why I said I was surprised that they announced Hellblade, but that falls under the same thing of obviously Hellblade was on PlayStation as well, so it's good for the Hellblade fans out there that can
Mhm.
finally, if they're solely on PlayStation, they can finally see the follow up. Hope they like it more than I
Yeah.
did.
They won't. They won't. Nobody does. It's no, I don't know. I
Worth the
mean,
wait.
there's some redeeming qualities about
Yeah.
that game. I do think that that game gets thrown under the bus a little bit too much, even though I didn't like it. Like, there is an artistic merit to that game that, like,
Yeah.
that is probably something that deserves to be made. But speaking of Game Pass and speaking of things that I really hope people get their eyes on, Metaphor ReFantasio is
Mm.
coming to Game Pass. This Game Pass drop for as I sit here and talk about my hatred for corporations, and then I'm gonna go and shill some Game Pass drops real quick, but it is fucking crazy. So coming to Game Pass this month, or yeah, in between end of May, early April, next couple weeks, you got Monster Train 2, Tales of Kinzarazal, To a T, Spray Paint Simulator, Creatures of Ava, Sinua, Hellblades. Wait. Oh, okay.
You got to
Right. I
remember there's
forgot about.
tiers. There's
Yep.
tiers. So everything to put that to bed and explain it. Ultimate get everything day one. That's a lot of people run with the story that game everything is day one Game Pass. That's not entirely true because
Hmm.
Stalker, I believe, has either just joined Core or is going to be joining Core. And a lot of
Yep.
people are like,
That's
I thought
that's
that
what
was
this
already in Game
is.
Pass, and it's like, no, 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 it's on Game Pass Ultimate. So,
That's exactly what this is. Yeah.
yep.
So Ultimate is the games I had just listed. And then I forgot even their first party stuff is no longer in
Nope.
standard until it drops out of Ultimate into
Yep.
standard. A little bit confusing, but all right. So standard, you got Creatures of Ava, Hellblade 2, Stalker 2, The Division 2, Metaphor ReFantasio is in standard. That's not even in Ultimate. Crypt Custodian and Symphonia. So I'm gonna be honest, like the one I'm personally the most interested in is that 2 a T game, the indie title that's like all about walking around and T-posing. And
Yeah.
it's like the character's stuck in this T-pose. And because that's not something I was going to buy, but that was something I was actually interested in playing. And now it's like, well, cool. I don't have to buy it. It's a part of this damn service that is just blueprints. Didn't have to buy that. Well, no, I actually did end up buying blueprints on PlayStation.
But you don't have to.
But I played it on
That's
Game
the
Pass as
thing.
well.
Yeah, because you did the same thing with
Yeah.
Clan.
Claire. Yep.
Played it,
Same
and
exact
that's
thing.
I again, it's not shilling. You can give praise to something. It is a very very good service at what it does. Um, Downside is obviously hinders their care to support physical, so it does hurt me as a personal person. But
Totally.
I don't know. I think I'm level headed enough to be like it's probably the best case action for them to pursue that over physicals. Probably it's the thing that's giving them way more success and way more buzz because this landing metaphor that quickly, landing Balatro as well. Obviously, that's an indie game, so that's probably a little bit less harder to handle. But that was one of the final six last year, was it not? Game of the Year contender.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
Game of the Year contenders just happily being in that service either day one or not all that long after. That's crazy, man.
Bro,
Um,
metaphor. Metaphor was in that final six too.
mhm.
Like, that is fuck. If you really like, I know we'll never be able to know, but if we could look at the tally and see what the votes were split between, I honestly bet it was Astro and then Metaphor and then Balatro. Like, so I think
Ooh.
number two and number three are both in Game Pass now,
Mhm.
which is fucking crazy.
Yeah. No, it is. It is crazy. It's also a thing as well because what I wanted to touch on. This will also come full circle later on down the video. But dude, their fucking relationship with Sega is baffling, bafflingly
Yeah, it
good.
is.
Like they didn't have to. Like they're not in any rush to put that into Game Pass. like one of the final six games of last year's Game of the Year. They just I don't know. They really enjoy the partnership. They must throw them so much money. Is the is the thing that I'm assuming. But they've cultivated that kind of similar relationship. Almost feels on par with, not completely, but getting there with Sony and Square, man. Like they're fucking really tight. They just haven't pulled the strings for exclusivity as hard, but they have done it in the past with Yakuza 7.
7. Yeah.
So
Dude, I didn't I didn't even think about what I was saying while I said it about the game of the year thing. Because last year they had, or now they Balatro,
mhm.
Metaphor. This year, Blueprints
Yeah,
and Claire,
yeah.
and soon they'll have Split Fiction with the EA thing. Like that service is in fucking sane. What you're able to get over there. Yeah.
When you can find one. But yeah, I don't know. I think their success will see next generation. If that is a pure hybrid thing, I think it can kind of break into that PC console space a little bit more. Because what I've noticed as well, with obviously being a lot more tied on PC, dude, the amount of shit that they throw at you on PC for free.
Oh, it's a lot of free games. Yeah, it
Holy
is.
shit! Like Epic on a weekly basis, just throwing games. GOG happily throws you free games, and then you have Amazon Prime, which throws you free PC. It's just Steam sales being dirt cheap. It's like you wonder why PC players don't like rival console players day one for sales, because they're in no fucking rush. All they have to do is wait like 3 4 months, and or even just buy it off CD. Like there's always an option. Like they, yeah, sport for choice, man.
I saw Epic's free game today was something that was just like
Deliver us at all costs.
my yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, a day
like I
one,
claimed
yeah.
it. I haven't. It's not even out yet, right?
Nice.
Or it came out today.
Came out today, yeah.
Yeah, Epic. Again, I know people have that because they. It does make me laugh. You obviously have the console wars. It's kind of the storefront wars on PC. Some people
Right.
completely write off Epic. No, I'm a Steam guy. It's like that's a free game, man. Like create an account and you get a free day one game.
It's that's crazy, dude. Like I never understood brand loyalty like that. Where when the chicken fries came out, I was like, "Oh, dude, fuck your chicken nuggets, McDonald's. Those chicken fries bang. Like I'm gonna go eat those Burger King chicken fries." And like when I want a burger, I'm gonna go and grab the Big Mac. Although I do like a Whopper every now
Oh
and then,
man,
or
that
the
Big
BK
Mac
double
sauce
stacker. But
hits.
oh, dude, yes, it does, bro.
Greatest sauce
Big
ever.
easily, dude, easily. I got a jar of it, like a knockoff style Big Mac sauce. I'll just throw that shit on like a little taco wrap, bro. It's that Big Mac. It is fucking delicious. Um, yeah. So the Big Mac of game services is definitely Game Pass, and they are Mac Daddy delivering. Loon, my transitions are everyone has been speaking of delivering. Speaking of delivering. Deliver us all costs. Another big benefit of fucking digital is guess what I'm waiting on in the mail?
I would assume the
Deliver
copy
us
of
all
Deliver
costs.
Us All Costs, which they're not delivering it at all costs.
I swear,
They're
dude. It's
dragging their
like,
feet
why
at all
do I?
costs.
And fucking
Did you finally get
waited
Claire?
on this.
No.
No, the precinct. No,
No.
I can't find Claire anywhere. Um,
So
but
we're obviously running late. I just want to quickly break because they're obviously getting all these on PlayStation, right?
mm,
Even PlayStation's beginning to suffer on this physical like output front. Like, what the fuck is going on, man? How are these just not available? Why are they
I think
taking
that's
so long to
Sandfall.
ship?
I think that's
Mm.
Sandfall.
No,
The
but even
the
deliver us at
they
all costs, like taking that, like these things should just be available. You didn't hear this in previous years. Like
Oh yeah,
pre-orders,
that's just
pre-orders were laughed at because they were meaningless. Because it was like they were always going to be there for the most part, and now all of a sudden, it's going back to like that early 2000s things of where you'd go into a shop and you kind of did have to pre-order some stuff because it would just be sold out. Why the fuck are we going
that's on
backwards?
us.
The fuck is wrong with
That's
it?
on us though. We're not fucking buying this shit like that. I'm not gonna listen. I know everybody dogs GameStop to hell and back, and I get it. I'm not gonna blame GameStop for choosing not to order 500 copies of The Precinct. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Like, you probably want to make sure the only copies of The Precinct that get sent to that store are from people who pre-ordered that damn game. Like I get that because you're gonna be eating a loss on The Precinct, or you're gonna be eating a loss on Pocket Bravery,
Oh
or you're
boy.
gonna be eating a loss on I don't want to grab that one, but Monster Jam
I
Showdown.
don't want to grab that one.
It's just stacked under a bunch, so I don't want it to topple over. But you know what I mean? So it's like I can't necessarily blame GameStop for that. And I can't necessarily blame the publishers for having limited print runs.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell people it's like, dude, you, people always like anti-pre-order this, anti-pre-order that's it's like, bro, go drop $5 on the game and just reserve it to make sure it comes to your store if you want it physically. Like that's all you got to do. Do you know how many times I've canceled pre-orders? I literally canceled Claire Obscure just the other day because it took me way too long. And once again, that's on me. I had a work trip to go to, yada yada yada, and I came back to the store and they were like, "Yo, we tried to get a hold of you." I even said it on the podcast when the dude contacted me,
Yep.
and it took me too long to get there. That's on me. I could have went and picked that shit up, but I was playing it on Game Pass, so I didn't even think about it. I was like, "Oh, surely they're not going to have any of these issues." But when Sandfall's like, "Well, we only shipped out 10,000 of these copies and 700 million people want to buy our game," it's like, fuck it, dude. That's
I want to give him a little bit more praise as well, which I haven't done enough of. Wink, wink. Um, I don't know what the physical shit. If they must be greenlighting more copies of that, but they actually greenlit their
they are.
collector's edition again, which is fucking cool as shit. Like you rarely
Yeah.
ever see that. They would turn around and they were like, "Yeah, we didn't expect that to sell out like as quickly as it did for one, and for two, people are like screaming that they want it."
Keep
So
keep talking.
so
Keep talking. I'm gonna go grab that hoodie.
oh yes, I want to see it. Um, so yeah, they've gone and put back up. I don't think it's on their store. Let me go look because I have the website up saved. Uh, edition Spix and Love, I believe. Oh, Pix and Love, is the website, and they've put it back up. And the only thing is it's not going to have a copy of the game, but it has everything else that was in that collector's edition bundle. I think they go live tomorrow. Obviously, this won't go up immediately. I think the 24th of May is when that will be sold again. Oh, hell yeah. There we go. 33, baby. Yes, and then the paintress on the back. I love it. Such a good hoodie. Such a cool hoodie. Should probably try and look at getting one myself. I have to ask where he got it from as he puts it on to show us all. Very clean.
Ugh. Yeah, this bitch is nice, man. Live little fashion show for
Where
y'all.
did you order it from? Did you say again?
IGN.
IGN. Okay.
Yeah, IGN has the exclusive merchandising deal with old Claire 33. Um, but yeah, dude, I fucking love this hoodie. And I was actually expecting it to be some like very basic, not super high quality. Like this shit is soft. It actually feels like a kind of premium hoodie. What it's so funny. I just sat there and said, I don't ever do corporate praise. And it's like, yeah, IGN and they delivered me an excellent quality hoodie.
I mean,
But
it's different though when you outright. There's a line. There's
yeah.
just praising it to high moon and even praising their bullshit. That's where the line has to be drawn. All of these companies, like with I throw limited run a lot of praise. There's a lot of shit that they do wrong, but
Oh yeah.
you know the praise for me at the moment, like with what it's also what it's affecting you as well. That needs to be kept in mind. For me, it's look, man. It sucks. They're the only people delivering them like if I want Yakuza physically on Xbox, they're actually giving that to me. They're giving me something I want, so I'm happy for that.
Totally.
Um,
Well,
the constant delays though, they can go fuck themselves. Like, what the hell are you doing?
um, that shit was. I was waiting on
I waited
was
on
it
Persona for
Penson?
over almost 2 years.
It's so insane, dude. It is so fucking
Almost two
insane.
years. It was like a year and like I don't know 6 7 months. That's fucking absurd.
Mm. Well, dude, do you want to talk a little bit about once again tying straight into Game Pass? Oblivion was the best-selling game of April 2025, and Forza Horizon 5 was the second best-selling game of April 2025. Minecraft was the fourth best-selling game of April 2025. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle was the sixth best-selling game of April 2025. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 was the seventh best-selling game of April 2025. For those of you at home, do you know where I'm going with this? Microsoft is making a whole lot of fucking money,
Yep.
a whole lot of money, and Indiana Jones moved from its last month's position of 118th up to number six.
Yep.
Forza Horizon 5 moved from 42 to
Mm-hmm.
second. Why do you think that is, Loon?
I know that you don't support it. It's not your thing, but it's the thing of like, look, man,
Yeah.
their strategy works. This is the big difference between them and Sony as well. Is they have absurd number crunches. They are ruthless as well. They don't care about upsetting people. So people who sat there and be like, man, you're devaluing it and stuff. They're there to make money. Did they succeed in doing that, Brandon?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're making a whole
And
lot
that's
of money.
all that they care about because these acquisitions that they went and hunted down were very, very expensive in its totality when you're tallying them all up. Um, yeah, that's all they care about. They're
Yeah.
absolutely fucking nailing it on that front. You're gonna see them puffing the hell out of their own chest as if they caused it entirely on their own, which obviously they didn't. I'm not going to give them that praise either. It's this the kind of thing. You bought your way to victory. It still is a victory, but you did buy your way to victory. You wouldn't have been able to hit this if you didn't. You couldn't cultivate these studios yourself. You tried and you fucking failed time and time again. But when you're looking at it, are they absolutely dominating right now? Yes. They're dominating with Game Pass, of giving that to their players at least. So the Xbox fan base that is around still, they're eating well. PlayStation players are funding. How many of that was that in their top 10?
It is one, two, three, four, five in the top 10.
You're talking half of the top 10 of the month
Oh
is
my
entirely because
God.
them games, yeah, they're being sold on Xbox, but you saw where they jumped from, 180th
Yeah.
or whatever it was, 40th and stuff like that, 400th. PlayStation are giving it a second wind, and I think it wouldn't surprise me if they do this moving forward because it's showing that it's not punishing them. If you launch it into Game Pass, certain games day one, and adhere from dropping them into PlayStation, you're not actually suffering from dropping them down 6 months later either.
Mm.
It's not
Yeah, I mean,
because if they would have launched these games and none of them broke top 10, it'd be like you should probably be launching them day and date. You could honey it up a bit for people who are still on that platform and make them feel like they're still entirely valued to some degree
the
of
in,
being like,
mm,
there you go, you get it exclusively for a little bit of time because they do like doing them timed exclusive deals. They've done it all through the Xbox One generation. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they move forward across the board.
well, let's okay, before actually let me I'm going to go through the rest of this list real quick, but I want to transition to that exclusive, that new exclusive Xbox game that was just announced after this, if that's cool with you. The, we talked about it before, Space Marine.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck are you on
Just
about?
because it's interesting, like that's rare.
Mm-hmm.
So number one of April best-selling games of 2024, April 2024, The Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered. Number two, Forza Horizon 5. Number three, MLB The Show. Wait, number one,
Holy shit. Number three, MLB?
yeah, I'm having a fucking stroke here. Number one, Elder Scrolls, two, Forza, three, MLB, four, Minecraft, five, Assassin's Creed Shadows, six, Indiana Jones, seven, Black Ops 6, eight, WWE 2K25, nine, NBA 2K25, 10, PGA 2K25, 11, Monster Hunter Wilds, 12 Split Fiction, 13 The Last of Us Part 2, 14 EA Sports FC 25, 15 Grand Theft Auto 5, 16 Red Dead Redemption 2, 17 Elder Scrolls Online, 18 Elden Ring, 19 Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, 20 Hogwarts Legacy. Um, so I'm going to tell you off the top some things that are wild to me. 2K25, 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 back to back to back with WWE, NBA, and PGA all inside of the top 10. Um, that's impressive, especially with NBA 2K25 coming out fucking September of 2024. So we're a year removed and it's still in the top 10. And
Um,
you're not seeing Madden in there. You're not seeing college football in there. That's hella
that
fucking.
that tells me that there was a 2K sale though of some kind because it fits that time, right? The new games are just relatively around the corner, right?
But so are Madden and college football. Those are even more. Those are even
No, but I
closer.
mean there must have been a specific 2K sale because they're all 2K games, right? You said.
Yeah, but WWE 2K25 just came out.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that still fits. That doesn't fit that thing. That makes sense that that would be up there. But the sales for the sports things, that probably means that there was a 2K sale of some kind.
Yeah. Um, The Last of Us, obviously, with the show,
Mm-hmm.
it saw a 10, it went from 23rd to 13th. So a 10 spot climb. That makes all the sense in the world. Grand Theft Auto, um, of course, Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead 2. This list is dominated by Take-Two and Microsoft. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 of the top 20 best-selling games are Take-Two and Microsoft. That is fucking crazy.
Yep, it's what they were targeting though, with obviously going multi-platform. Because if they weren't in them charts this quickly, fucking writing is on the wall that you're sinking. Because there's been tons of talk about they want to shutter this, they want to shutter that. I look, man, they're making shitloads of money, and they're clearly succeeding at what they want to do. Yeah, from a hardware perspective, they're fucking terrible. But are they
Mhm.
making money? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the thing where I do sympathize with the Xbox player, like the player
Thank you.
of Xbox. Yeah, but from the corporate side, it's like I have to look at the Xbox player and be like, you know, guys, I hate that this is the situation, but these motherfuckers are doing pretty
Mm-hmm.
well with their new plans. That those new plans don't necessarily bode well for Xbox, but they bode well for Microsoft. Um, Kingdom Come 2 is hanging in there
There's
at
no
19.
Claire, was there at all?
So Sandfall doesn't submit their data to the MPD group because they're so new. Or Circana, they're so they didn't submit the
Okay,
sales to they can pull information from physical retailers, and I think they said it was 37th in
it's not
which is
bad.
just physical. Yeah,
No, it's not
that's
bad.
just accounting for physical. So if that would have been digital and physical, I'm assuming they break top.
I'd say top 20. I don't think they break top 10. I think it's still a little bit too niche. Um, I think it could sneak in top 20, even just claiming like the 20th.
I think it would have been. This is totally horseshit fucking theorizing. I think it would have been 13th.
Ooh.
I think it would have been under Split Fiction, right above The Last of Us Part 2.
Mm.
Maybe even above Split Fiction, honestly, because
Been out a while.
Split Fiction, yeah, it already released. It was fifth last month and then dropped to 12th. So it might have even have been ahead of Split Fiction, Monster Hunter Wilds, and then maybe right below the 2K games that were back to back to back. But obviously, this is all horseshit, fucking theoretical nonsense that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Tinfoil hat.
Um, The Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered sold more units in April 2025 than
I
The Elder
saw this.
Scrolls.
Yeah. And it's like
Yeah, The
first
Elder
six
Scrolls
months or something crazy, right?
15
50.
months.
Okay. That's
So the
fucking
remaster
insane.
sold more in fucking 1 month than Elder Scrolls 4 initially sold in 2006
6.
in 15 months. That is crazy. Just the amount of players that have come into this hobby
Yep.
since,
Yeah, because it's not like
for
it was
20 years ago.
it's not like it wasn't an anticipated title back in the day. It was a yeah, and you're talking that was available everywhere as well. That wasn't just obviously on Xbox. You're talking Xbox, PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
PlayStation had it.
Wait, no,
No,
Oblivion was
no, it
Xbox
was because it
exclusive.
came out in 2006.
Yep, it was
Yeah,
exclusive.
okay. Technically, it shouldn't have been, but the stars aligned that way, and obviously PC. But yeah, even then, that's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy.
Absolutely. Well, dude, actually, we'll just keep rolling how we were because I've already pivoted way off fucking track. Um,
We're getting
so 50,
whiplash over here.
I guess we'll stay right there with it's a Microsoft heavy week. Microsoft is all, I mean, that's the thing is like, you know, Microsoft is always going to be in the news. They're the biggest
Yeah,
publisher in the world.
yeah.
They're always going to have something to talk about. And this week they got some pretty interesting new shit to talk about. 50 classic Activision games have been added to Game Pass, and this is coming from Clobril on Twitter. Obviously, all I give credit to everybody who I see this information from. I credit all of those people in the description of the video so you can find and read through all of this in a more, if you prefer to read it, go check that stuff out. Um, so, starting today, Game Pass members can dive into a collection of 50 plus classic Activision games from the 80s and 90s. Over 50 restored and ready to play games available for Xbox Game Pass members, community challenges, competitive leaderboards, all new challenge modes, high score ranking, and more. Collect achievements. Yeah, available for Game Pass members to play on console, PC, and on supported devices with cloud gaming.
Mm.
Um, so I jumped into this and
Give us your
when I
take,
first jumped,
sir.
yeah, when I first jumped into it, it wouldn't work at all.
Yeah, a lot of
And I'm
people
like,
were
oh boy.
saying that. Mm.
Yeah. And so I'm like, oh boy. So all of this is through cloud, obviously. And so you're not downloading these games natively. You're downloading the Retro Classics app essentially and playing these games through that app, through cloud.
Yep.
Which, here's the thing, it's 80s and 90s games. So eventually I did get into one and it played just fine. Like it's an 80s and 90s game. It doesn't need to be, I don't need fiber optic internet to be able to scroll on a 2D plane and fucking make a little jump and like it's nothing overly complex. However, I hear people saying, "Oh, well, this is the gateway. We're going to get Hulk Ultimate Destruction and Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Ultimate Spider-Man and X-Men and Legends and on and on and on." And I'm like, God, I hope not.
Mm.
Like it's not even a thing where I know that kind of sucks to hear, but like I actually hope they do not do that. I hope they charge us money for those games. I hope that they release those games. Obviously, it'll come to Game Pass, but I'm saying like I hope that that's an entirely different. Like if you want to buy that on PlayStation, you can buy the actual game. You can you don't have to play it through the cloud. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'd be bummed out if those PS2 games were only available through the cloud. Like how Infamous and all that shit's only available through the cloud with the PS3 the what is it, the premium collection on PlayStation Plus where you can
Mm.
stream the PS3 games. Like I don't want to only be able to stream really good games. For stuff like this, it is what it is. Like it's a cool novelty thing,
Yeah, they can get
but
away with it a bit more.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I was shocked because obviously I messaged you very shortly after it broke. I didn't actually get the chance to jump into it, and I thought it was all downloaded initially because obviously, why wouldn't it be? Um,
Yeah.
fucking Christ, guys, come on. Um, I so that kind of gave me like a little bit of like a lurch of that's bittersweet because it could have been, and obviously it still could be. You know, I won't paint it completely doom and gloom. There could be an avenue down the line where maybe they charge if there's enough of an outcry for it. Like, can you just let us buy these things and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't want to see, like you said, Ultimate Alliance over on the cloud thing. And this is coming from somebody. This isn't because you have like spotty internet, so it could be perceived as like, oh well, you know, if somebody had like, nah man, got rock solid internet here, it plays like shit. The cloud
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. Like you can get away with some games like as an example, Balatro. I was able to play Balatro on the cloud. You couldn't notice really any difference from playing it on what I do on my laptop and stuff. Space Marine 2, however, multiplayer ran like shit, and F124 was unplayable. Like
Hmm.
you could not make the turns because it's requiring so much instant reaction from the player where even just a split second of like a hesitation on the cloud's part, it's screwing you over. So
Yeah.
I don't know. There's definitely classic games they could get away with probably, but I don't want this to be because obviously he was talking about preservation and stuff. I don't mind digital preservation. I don't want it
Not
in
through the
this way.
cloud.
I
Yeah.
don't want it sold. If you're going to tie it completely to the cloud, nah, man, no. Just
Yeah.
how hard would it to be to offer like I don't know. You could charge it so cheaply as well. This is what that's kind of annoys me. These classic games, you could easily ding like $1 each. Just say a
Yeah. 50
dollar.
bucks for them all.
Yeah, but even yeah, but just $1 each, as if it's and it takes you back. Like putting how much was it actually to put it in when you was in the arcade? I never,
A quarter,
never.
like 25 cent.
That would probably equate to $1 now, right? Inflation wise, roughly.
Yeah, and I mean you would put in like 4 quarters every now and then for
So
certain games,
I don't
and
know.
yeah.
Just be like, yeah, man, ding them for $1 each of like classic games that they would want. And just let them download it and play it natively. And I think that would just solve everything. Obviously, not for. I want to make that clear. Not for Ultimate Alliance. I don't think I'm talking about these classic Atari stuff
Right.
like them arcade games. You don't want to be charging people like 15, 20 even for them because that's steep asking price, man. Like just keep it very, very bite size, and then with the Marvel stuff, I don't know, 20.
A piece,
Yeah,
yeah. For sure.
yeah.
Definitely. Those games are all worth $20. Um, well, dude, how about we switch gears a little bit and we go to the blue side to hope for a showcase. How many times am I gonna make content on this platform hoping for a damn showcase? It's looking like it's going to be a state of play. Jeff Grubb reported today that on I believe Game Mess Mornings is his show. I think once again, guys, I apologize. We're kind of rolling in here on the fly
Yeah.
by flying by the seat of our pants. But I know it was Jeff Grubb for sure who reported. Yeah, Giant Bomb journalist Jeff Grubb stated during today's episode of Game Mess Mornings that other reliable insiders were saying they hadn't heard anything about a May event from Sony coming this year. I haven't either, Grubb said, and that's because something is happening in June. It's a June thing. Now, is this going to be a big showcase? I don't think so. So here we are again, Loon.
And he
It's
could
been since
he could be wrong, but with PlayStation's track record, when was the last time they did a showcase, Brandon?
2023, and the last good one was 2021. The last showcase in 2023 was universally panned. People were like, "This is dog shit. This was a state of play, a long state of play on steroids. Not in terms of the quality, but in terms of the size." And it's to me, it's just this thing where June is the interesting tidbit about the information here. Where, because last year they had it in May.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, okay, you have a month off before Summer Game Fest, before Xbox Showcase. I believe Nintendo had a direct last year in June. So you have a month off before you get to good showcases. So it's like people forget about the dog shit you threw out there in May by the time we get to June, to where you're seeing good showcases again. And now it's like you're going to go head to head with Summer Game Fest. You're going to go head to head with Xbox Showcase. You're going to go head to head with, like, is there going to be a Nintendo Direct? You're going to go head to head with that stuff with the recent output of state of plays you've had. Are you out of your fucking mind? Put
Well,
that thing in May and avoid the bad PR.
I want to also add to that as well, because it could have been a thing where, you know, maybe they won't have a good showcase with Xbox this year. The amount of shit that they've dropped before that showcase, what are they packing in that showcase? If they're happy to drop all this stuff now, they clearly don't have enough room to put that all in a showcase. So you're happy to go toe to toe with it. That's baffling, man. To me
Yeah.
personally, but I don't know. Maybe they think what they have on offer is good enough. Maybe they have, because you had obviously Druckmann coming out. Maybe it is a big balls move, and he just comes out and is like, "Here's the next thing," and that would just completely, even if that was the only big thing to pull from that, and they turned around and was like, "Here's Last of Us Part 3," like as an inception of an idea, that would more than likely quake a lot of whatever Xbox decides to put out, even if it is a good Xbox showcase, because that's the type of thing that can dominate a conversation. But
Yeah.
whether or not they can do
Well,
that is a different thing.
and that is a good point where, like, and I get it's I'm so old that I still look at everything through the old E3 lens where Xbox competed with PlayStation and Nintendo compete. Like, I still look through it with that lens where it's like these showcases compete with one another, where it's in reality the Xbox showcase is also a PlayStation showcase, is also
Yeah,
a Nintendo showcase.
yep.
So it's like maybe they just don't give a fuck about the bad PR that they're gonna
Because
get because
Xbox
it's
is
not
doing
gonna.
it for them.
Yeah, yeah, they're gonna get those games on PlayStation. So it's like, well, there you go. Watch that showcase. If you want a good showcase, you'll get the games over here. Um, so when I was driving over here, I was writing down, which I I was writing this down at red
Allegedly.
lights. Um,
Allegedly.
so while I was driving back here, I was trying to think of what the hell could possibly be there. Ghost of Yotei will obviously be there. Wolverine should be ready to be there. Soros should be ready to be there. Death Stranding 2 last final marketing beat, sure. Fair Games if it's not going to get canceled. Marathon if it's
Marathon,
not going to.
baby.
Yeah, Marathon if
Marathon.
it's not going to get canceled. Intergalactic maybe, but I would assume Intergalactic's not ready to show gameplay, and I don't think you pop back up again with a cinematic trailer. I think the next thing they show probably will be gameplay. Lost Soul aside, sure, that's coming soon. Barlog's game with Santa Monica, probably not ready. Phantom Blade Zero should be ready, and
What's Blue
I
Point working on?
yeah, it's a
No, that was that was a
yeah
genuine question.
they worked for years on a God of War live service
Oh,
game,
for
Loon.
fuck's sake! Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The team that mastered the remake was working on a God of War live service game. There, how about that one? Instead of Sly Cooper, instead of
I was literally about to
Infamous.
say, because I was about to be like, "Ooh, I wonder if Blue Point could come and like save the show and be like, here's a Jack remake, like remastered collection." Okay, yep, that's a choice.
It's so because like here's the thing. Everything I just mentioned, what is showcase worthy? So I kind of get why they're doing a state of play. Showcases are KOTOR. Showcases are The Last of Us 3. Showcases are Spider-Man 3, Horizon 3. Like brand new reveals for big games. And and then if you have a new IP, is if that's going to be the center of your showcase, it better be deep dive gameplay like, oh my God. The first time we saw Horizon Zero Dawn in like 2016, 2015, you're like, yo, what the fuck? Robo dinosaurs and like it was just mesmerizing. But if you're going to have a new IP with Intergalactic be the star of your showcase,
Stellar Blade 2,
you
right? Because they
yeah,
announced
2026.
that would be the place to show it potentially to
No.
save face. I don't know, man. Like it's so it. And this is coming from like me on the other side. It feels so far out. Some of these titles still, which is absurd. Like Wolverine, how is that still just a fault in a bubble? Essentially, like how is that still not? There's nothing on it. Him singing at a bar, is that it, right? That's the only thing that's
That's the only trailer.
how. I don't. This is the thing because it's what annoyed. Like I know it's kind of going back, but it's what annoyed me when obviously Xbox wobbled and stuff. Like there was plenty of shit thrown their way. How is there not like more people questioning like what the fuck is going on? How have we not seen more on this? Like I know like let them do what they're doing and stuff, but you can't just criticize the live service aspects of their fumbles because it's leaking into everything else.
Yeah.
Like you're talking, Spider-Man's suffering because of it. They could have easily put out another Spider-Man game. They saw such success, and you went and made them onto another. What was it? A live service Spider-Man game, right?
A live service
That could have been
Spider-Man,
another
yeah. They
Spider-Man game on itself. Like they saw enough success
definitely could
with
have
them
been
too.
Venom.
Yeah, or something else in that
Yeah.
space. Like I just don't. It's puzzling to me. It really is. Like that's something that should have been shown already, like last year, gameplay, and then it should be out within the next 2 years. It feels like that kind of thing. I don't know. It's very
Yeah.
disappointing.
It is. It's weird times, man. Like, but it's been that way. Arrogant Sony. They have crazy success PS2 into arrogant Sony for PS3. Have crazy success PS4, arrogant Sony for PS5. But the problem is with the PS3, they were shaky. They weren't having that incredible success early on with the PS3. And so they worked their asses off
Yeah.
to rebuild that success. By the end of it, the success is just growing
It's because
with the PS5.
no one's jumped ship. That's the thing. Because there's
Um,
it with Microsoft's approach, it's played into their hand. Like the only place they're going to be jumping ship to is Nintendo, and
or
people
PC, yeah.
don't want to be jumping. I don't. That's the thing where people say jumping to PC. I think that's such a small percentage of people. I don't think a lot of people want to commit to doing it, and it's not even the thing of like, well, oh, it's too hard to. It's just there's so many factors as to where it's just so simple to just boot up a PlayStation and be there immediately. You're not having to even think like the worst thing that can happen when you build a PlayStation. Two things: either the services are down, or you have to update the console. That is it. They're
Yeah.
the only two things blocking you between just booting it up and playing again.
Well, dude, I cuz I really do believe that like if you're going to have an actual showcase, if it is any way shape or form that new Uncharted game,
Mm-hmm.
like if that is the other game that's being created alongside the Heretic Prophet, I think that is showcase
Yeah.
worthy. I don't I even if the rest of the showcase is kind of lackluster, I think that could carry a showcase
Yeah.
in and of itself where it's like, "Oh my God, 10 years, it's back." Um, playing as this uh this fucking star actress and this interesting story and the story that you've been along the journey for since 2007, and like there's all of this appeal there. I think that's showcase worthy, but I want a and I sound like a fucking entitled child right here, but
Let's hear it.
I want a legit showcase from them guys, man. All of the like the best E3 memories that I have are from great PlayStation showcases. 2015, 2016, really from like 2015 to their final showcase at E3 was top fucking tier, man. Top tier. Um, Maybe a little bit of a wobble on that last one actually, but they just used to have such good E3 showings during that PS4 era because they were just cooking. And it's a bummer to not have that big PlayStation event to look forward to anymore. But once again, when you look at it's the most revenue that they've ever generated in a console generation with the PS5, and I think it's more revenue than PS1, 2, and 3 combined, which is just like,
And when your quote unquote competitor is doing all of the heavy lifting for you, we just covered
you know,
what were the top 10 selling games. Half of them are Microsoft. And they're going to do the marketing for you. Why waste money on marketing stuff that's going to get you money because it's going to come to your platform? Yeah, you don't get the full 100% of it,
yeah,
but you don't give a shit. You're getting what, 30% scrapes off of every single thing? Every single copy of that Oblivion remaster sold on PlayStation.
every single
Every
one.
single one. So
Yeah,
it's that thing of like they haven't even been punished for the hubris because
yeah,
they're not competing like they used to. Like they have Nintendo, but Nintendo does their own thing. So I don't know. It's unfortunate from the players' perspective, but Sony's laughing at everybody right now. It feels because
yeah.
they're not, they get thrown around with like marathon, haha, it's gonna fail and stuff. I don't think they're really gonna feel it. The fucking look how much money they're making.
Yeah, Marathon maybe though, because remember they had to buy the studio, $4 billion down the drain with Bungie. But yeah, if they're making fucking, well, I don't even know. I know they're well in the billions,
Yeah,
obviously, year over year. So yeah. Well, dude, I guess that's it remains to be seen. But Jeff Grubb doesn't really fuck around. Um, Over the years, like I used to kind of be skeptical of Jeff Grubb. I remember when he was first popping up, I was like, "Hey, who the fuck are you with this information?" And then over the years, I was like, "Oh well, he got that one right. He got that one right." And then EA, like, remember when EA tried to call him out and it's like, "Well, no, this isn't true." And then like a month later, it turned out to be true or whatever. It's like, okay, so that one was right, and yeah, he doesn't miss too often. When he puts his name on something, it's typically right, unless he's like shooting the shit. And because I have been, I swear to God, well, I'm gonna quit the rambling quick. I've been listening to Giant Bomb again for the first time in a while because after they bought back their the whole situation, but they bought their independence essentially,
yeah.
and so now it's like core, or not necessarily core, but there are some core Giant Bomb members who bought back Giant Bomb. And so I've been tuning back in, trying to support, trying to listen. I hadn't listened in a while. And it's like, this like they got fucking good chemistry. They got a good show going on. And I was just like listening to Jeff Grubb. I'm like, this guy seems pretty fucking cool. So shout out to Jeff Grubb. Shout out to making me, it took me a while to come around, but I was like, yeah, this fucking guy, this
I
guy that you hear about all the time, actually seems like a decent dude.
To be fair though, I think that's the healthy way of interacting with people in the industry because you got to give them skepticism in the beginning, especially
Yeah.
because it's like can't take your word for gospel, and then you start seeing things, and then it's so easy for I don't know bias to start showing. You start getting some predictions right, but then you be like, man, he gets the predictions right. He's kind of a dick, like and stuff like that. But I don't know. He seems like a fairly decent guy
Yeah.
from what I've
Ever since,
seen. Um, so yeah, another good one for now, allegedly.
yeah, allegedly, yeah. because I was tuning in for the first time in a while, and I was listening. I was like, this yeah, they good show. Seems like a solid dude. So it's always it's nice to see solid people succeed.
Absolutely.
But speaking of my transition once again, speaking of, and then waiting 10 seconds for my brain to possibly process a transition from Jeff Grubb to the Embracer Group. Well, speaking of not getting embraced, uh, oof, yeah, Embracer, Loon, you hit me with this story as I
Did
was
you want
driving
me
back
to?
home.
Did you want me to take the driving seat? Because I'm going to be scrolling
Yes.
through. Yeah. So this is going to be a little bit different because you are much more. Your home is Twitter. My home is True Achievements. I obviously dabble in Twitter from time to time, um, but when I see people that annoy me, I easily close it instead of doom scrolling like so many people. um,
I definitely do.
so over on True Achievements, I saw this. Now let me go. There we go. So obviously it'd be a little bit different than just rolling a trailer. But they were talking about Embracer Group is continuing its trajectory to like rebranding itself because I believe it already did that initially, right? Or
Yep.
a few months ago. They've done something.
Yeah.
Do you remember what that was? Because I can't. I'm drawing a
Yes.
blank. Okay,
They changed
I know they did
it
something.
what was it? What is the Lord of the Rings name? Fellowship and Friends or something? They changed
Oh yeah, no, okay, I can grab that name because it's down here. They
it'll
Fellowship
actually probably all
Entertainment.
yeah, well they it was maybe it was just Lord of the Rings and Friends or some shit at one point. Like it was something very basic that was obviously just trying to
Oh,
exploit
that's
Lord of the
what they're
Rings as
renaming themselves.
yeah, I
Interesting.
think but you go ahead and take over the article and I'm sure it'll
Yeah.
all be in there.
So they talked about obviously Embrace is in a really bad state at the moment. Um, they're trying everything that they can to try and make it work. And what was very interesting is that Coffee Stain is obviously the developers behind um, Goat Simulator, right? And their previous working name they were Coffee Stain Group, but previously Coffee Stain and Friends. So they've been like reshuffled even themselves multiple times. But what I found extremely interesting is that they're going to spin off Coffee Stain Group and then be renamed Fellowship Entertainment. And their key responsibility moving forward is to be doing evergreen games. So they're going to be moving them to live service titles, which they already have, I believe, a bunch of live service titles under their boat with the likes of Satisfactory, Teardown, and stuff. It says here Deep Rock Galactic, Welcome to Bloxburg, and Valheim. And when I was looking at it, I went and tried to. I was going to grab a trailer to run for um, Goat Simulator from Coffee Stain. So obviously went to the official YouTube channel, and this is so strange. They have like everything that you would expect from like say us with like just it's not a normal developer covering content of like you'd think on their official YouTube channel you'd have like trailers and stuff, but it's like PR and interacting with the community and doing all these different things. And it's like, I know we're not the most supportive of live service per se, but I think they've positioned themselves extremely well. This seems like who better to pick it up over at Embracer than them because they have over on there. Let me get that back up actually to reference it. These aren't like low performing videos. Like you're talking, some of these are 400,000, 200,000 views. Yeah, you have like the 30Ks and stuff like that, but that even then, that's for stuff like doing a Lego live stream. Like why would Coffee Stain Group be building Legos? They're just interacting with their community. It's fascinating to see. I don't know. Did you know that they did this, Brandon?
I didn't know. I had no idea.
And it's
Um,
so human, and it makes so much sense that if you're going to give somebody that, try and get something with a community established and like garner that as evergreen, this seems like a perfect fit, weirdly enough, which I wouldn't have thought. I didn't know that their other games did so well. I obviously only know them from Code Simulator. That was fascinating to learn about.
I'm looking here. So in Embracer's official thing, it says following the communication on April 22nd, 2024, and the separation of Asmodee in February 2025, the next step in the transformation of Embracer Group AB, Embracer is now being initiated. Embracer today announces its intention to spin off Coffee Stain Group, previous working name Coffee Stain and Friends, into a standalone group of community-driven game developers and publishers by the end of calendar year 2025. The shares in Coffee Stain Group will be distributed to the shareholders of Embracer and are intended to be listed on the Nasdaq for on the Nasdaq First North Premier Growth Market in Stockholm. At the
Mhm.
same time, Embracer Group AB are planned to be renamed Fellowship Entertainment, previous working name Middle Earth
Yeah,
and
Middle Earth and
Friends.
Friends.
So, okay. So is this also Coffee Stain? Do they fall inside of that? Or okay, so Coffee Stain and Friends is a separate entity, and Middle Earth and Friends, which is now Fellowship Entertainment, is also a separate entity. Those are two different. They have their own sort of groups, I guess. So Coffee Stain's going to be more of like a live service centric thing, and then Fellowship Entertainment, I guess, is going to be more
Right. So it
Lord
says
of the
there are two
Rings
T.
centric.
So I'll obviously credit. Where is he? The name of the guy that wrote this. Jamie over on True Achievements. You can see him here. They do really good news articles on True Achievements. It says the two he wrote there are two key takeaways from this announcement. The first is that Coffee Stain Group will be responsible for what's being referred to as evergreen games. These are live service titles with ongoing revenue streams or regular updates that draw in new players, such as Deep Rock Galactic, Satisfactory, Teardown, Welcome to Bloxburg, and Valheim. The second takeaway is the fact that Embracer name is being wiped from the rebrand, so they're not going to have any like personal touch to it. They're trying to
Hmm.
distance themselves because obviously they have such poor public image. And it says under its new name, Fellowship Entertainment, it will control releases across all forms of media. So that's not just going to be from
Hmm.
games. That's going to be comics, movies, games from over 300 plus IPs that they can control. And the main ones that obviously includes Kingdom Come Deliverance, Metro, Darksiders, Killing Floor, and Dead Island. And Fellowship Entertainment will be also under that umbrella,
Oh, okay.
um, where that will contain more than 40 companies, which to me, that's still fucking absurd.
That is a
They have
lot.
so many things. I know they're trying to make themselves more, I don't know the word,
Like
maneuverable,
I,
more like
yeah.
agile was a thing, but they're just 40 companies is fucking crazy. But under the Fellowship Entertainment, the ones that you'll obviously remember and be more familiar with is Limited Run Games, Middle Earth Enterprises, Crystal Dynamics, Eidos, and 4A Games. But they're talking about like that group in its totality has 76 games slated to release from now to April 2026. That's I mean, good luck to you.
That's insane.
Um, I think they just. I'm gonna be honest here. We were kind of. I wouldn't say like fully on board with Embracer, but it was that thing of like, it could be interesting. You know, we obviously hindsight is a bitch sometimes. It was the thing of like, we'll welcome anyone to take a stab at the industry. I think they just got a
Yeah.
bit carried away with acquisitions in the end. Like they ended up grabbing way too many people way too quickly. And I
Yeah.
think they kind of realized that and were like, fuck, we have all this IP. How the hell do we develop it? Because we have it, but we can't fund it because we spent it on getting the IP. And yeah, I don't know. I think the good takeaway is that the live service seems to be in good hands because they seem to have a good, strong knit community. I know Deep Rock is really passionate as a community and stuff like that. So if they're happy with it, I think they're in good hands. I'm just very worried about what this reshuffle will mean down the line. How much freedom are they going to be giving, say, because they obviously have Kingdom Come under their belt. Are they gonna try and muscle in and influence? Like, just leave them be. Like, that's a successful IP and franchise now. It's not even just an IP; it is a franchise. Um, just leave them be, and what that means for the next Metro game, I just hope, because like I said, what was that 76 games roughly? I think I said something crazy like that.
Yeah, 76.
I wish them all the best, but that worries me a lot. That's such a
Yeah,
high
for
number,
sure.
even for like a massive publisher. I know they have shitloads of IP under their belt, but you're talking that's 2026. I was thinking that's 2 years from now. It's only a year out.
1 year.
You're talking 76 groups having to share a budget. Essentially, is what you need to. They're all under that umbrella, so they're fighting for every bit of scrap that they can get. I don't know, man.
Yeah. And I mean, how many Kingdom Comes are you going to have between now and April 2026? You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to have many games that are able to generate enough profit for you to fund 3, 4 more games just because of one game's tremendous success. So it's good. They're going to be in those 76 games. What's the likelihood that 50 of them flop? Probably
That's a
pretty high,
really good
right?
point
You know, so
as well. All of that success for Kingdom Come, that's not going to be going back all to Kingdom Come. That's got to be divvied up.
yeah, yeah. It's
Ooh.
because I was somewhat optimistic on the idea of Embracer early on
Yeah,
because it was
I
like,
think
oh,
we
they're
both
making
were.
smart indie and smart AA acquisitions, and it's like I think there is a really good market
Hmm.
available for that, where if you want to primarily focus on indies and AA's and maybe put together a team of 20 studios, 10 studios, but not fucking I mean, they're at crazy numbers at this point.
They got baited. Is the best way of also they went and they were the only people that picked up Eidos and stuff, and it's like I'm glad that they didn't go bust and stuff like that. But there's a reason Sony had no interest. Microsoft, like, they picked them up for pennies, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
They would have cost them billions. It's fine to pick them up for whatever it was, like 200, 300 million, whatever it was, literal pennies, but it cost billions to overhaul the state that they were in and make them a powerhouse again. And they just,
Yeah.
you who the fuck was like, yeah, man, let's get it. Like, it
Mhm.
seemed so. It was that Saudi money as well that I think they were banking on before it got pulled
Yep.
out. It was that thing of like, yeah, we can take that hit because we got this. It's just like, look, man, don't make them decisions until that money's in your bank account, please. Like, say that you're going to make them moves and convince them to give you that money, and then like, it
Absolutely.
just sucks, man.
Yeah. And I just saw today that um the WWE for WrestleMania 42, they were announced to be heading to New Orleans. And today it was like rumor that WWE was pulling out of New Orleans for 42, and everybody's like, they're going to Saudi Arabia. It really, boy, they throw some cash, man. That would be fucking hilarious to see that happen. But anywho, yeah, it's
Money talks.
absolutely, and bullshit walks 1,000 miles. And if you ain't got a paid lawyer, then don't go to trial. That's what I said. Um, you want to head on over? You got another story that once again I was trying to look at before we started rolling here, but I'm gonna let you carry this one away as well, my friend.
Yeah. So I think they've been doing this for a good few years, but like the past 2 years have been really good. And this is the Skulls event, so this is Warhammer's like own showcase, and obviously they've carved a very specific niche up until about, I don't know, 2 3 years ago of, you'd expect strategy games from them. Total War, Dawn of War was their other game, and then they just started greenlighting more and more projects. So the showcase was earlier today. I think probably about 8 hours ago or so from time of recording now, and there was a shitload of games that they showed there. Kind of a surprising amount. Like, I think you can officially say that they've broken out of being completely considered niche. They're not mainstream yet, but they're getting there. Like you're talking Owlcats next project has been announced, and I'm drawing a blank on the name because I've rolled the trailer. So whenever this finishes, I'll retouch on that. But obviously, they made Rogue Trader, so they gained Games Workshop's kind of like loyalty and respect because Rogue Trader was incredible. It was incredible success for them. They did it on a fairly lean budget, and it was pretty successful. They've even greenlit for Rogue Trader a second season pass, which is really really good. So that game's getting more content. Bolt Gun 2 got shown. It's just it's a really good time to be a Warhammer fan, man. Like we are being spoiled, absolute rotten. And just for reference, that new Owlcat game is Warhammer 40,000 Dark Heresy, and it's coming everywhere by the looks of it. PS5, Steam, GOG, PS5, Xbox, and Epic. So it doesn't look like there's going to be any exclusivity on that front, but there is exclusivity on one front, which was kind of a surprise. And I I I was shocked seeing this. I did for one, I didn't even think like why would you do it for one, and for two, locking it down exclusive for Xbox is as a choice, I suppose. And what that is a surprise showing at the Skulls event was Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 1 remastered. And it's coming to Game Pass day one and exclusively Xbox and PC. There's no PlayStation. What the fuck?
This is really getting to the point where it's like it's almost comical, where nothing makes sense
Nope.
with this brand anymore because like as soon as we want to say, okay, well let's stop reporting on, Hellblade and Starfield and Indiana Jones and let's stop reporting on those games coming to PlayStation. We know what's going to happen, so what's the point of continuing to report on this?
Mm-hmm.
Then they go and lock down an exclusive deal for Space Marine 1,
Yep.
which is like, okay, so now are we back? Are Xbox exclusives back on the board now that the FTC trials have officially been thrown out and after all the like what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, because I've spoken about it before. So here we go. So June 10th on PC and Xbox, play day one with Game Pass. Fucking crazy. Right.
That's so
Let me just
wild.
close that down. I don't know what to think. I don't know because we say with the FTC thing, but they did the same thing with Stalker.
Right,
Stalker
yeah,
2
yeah,
is
true.
is not on PlayStation, but you can play the
But
Stalker 1 to 3 remasters and stuff like that. Like what it's such mixed mess. It's classic Microsoft with mixed messaging and just confusing the fuck out of player bases on
so
both sides. But
my logic with Stalker was that they announced it before they completely pivoted away from the exclusive thing. So they were just committing to that since they had already announced it, kind of like with Avowed. But with this is like I can't even think of the reasoning unless
my
they don't.
my only reasoning I can think of, well, two actually, because I think we spoke about this before rolling the cameras. So I kind of already alluded to my thought processes, but Warhammer has been very close working with Xbox quite a bit in the past. You see, they port a ton of games onto the PC app and stuff, but more importantly, the publisher is Sega. Again, that name popping up, Sega. Like I don't know. Like again, they're just strength. It just for me, being 100% honest, it just feels like they are strengthening them bonds with Sega, and Sega just does. Sega likes getting that Game Pass money because they've been thrown it several times. It seems to be a healthy partnership with them. Um, and they're just mimicking with what Square does. Square probably gets money. This is obviously, I'm guessing this because it doesn't make any sense otherwise. Sony must kick them money to keep Final Fantasy at home, is where they feel
Oh yeah.
Final Fantasy is at home. I think we're gonna see Sega go down that route potentially. I know this seems absurd to say now. There is a genuine reality where the next Persona game could also be a timed exclusive. That's fucking madness. That is absolute
Wait.
madness because you're talking the next iteration of Yakuza was a timed exclusive. That shouldn't have happened under any circumstance. You're talking that game was on PlayStation for years and years and years and years and years. Home was PlayStation, and then they turn around and go, "Yeah, you can have that over on Game Pass because you kicked us enough money." Persona 6
It's
going thingy potentially would fucking cause riots. And it's just baffling. Like that thing, like you said, you think that you understand their strategy and then you just don't. They just rip the rug out from under you because this doesn't make any sense. For one, I still don't believe it exists, even upon seeing the trailer. That's the type of thing, like, why wouldn't you put that out before the second game, for one? Why are you going backwards like that? And then for two, locking it down to Xbox, that's crazy. Because that was also on PlayStation 3 as well. It wasn't exclusive to Xbox.
yeah, that it wasn't right, you
No, no,
know.
no,
It
no.
was
Space
okay,
Marine
yeah.
1 was on PlayStation 3, it was on PC, and it was on Xbox 360.
I'm trying to think of any rationale here that makes even the slightest bit of sense. Could it be something that's like Game Pass funding it?
Why
They
would they,
don't
though?
have like a
Why would you
why
fund
what?
that remaster? That doesn't.
Well, no, I'm saying that them getting the deal for it to be on Game Pass, that's pretty much funding the development. Like it's probably not going to
Uh,
be an all that expensive of a. So say they paid $30 million for it, which I don't know if who knows,
no, I
but
don't
say
think
they
it
paid
would
30
even come
million.
up that much. But I get you.
Yes. So let's say they just make a little bit of a profit or it's funded through Game Pass and then but even then it's like why wouldn't you just create a PlayStation version? I mean, it has to be like there's no other logic I can find other than it has to be contractually obligated to be exclusive. Because like yeah, none of it makes sense. None of any of this makes sense with Xbox anymore because if we're going back down the money hatting route to get people into the Xbox ecosystem, like surely this isn't the game to do it with.
Uh, I mean, you say that Space Marine 2 fucking blew the doors off last year
New game
fairly well.
though.
Yeah, but tons of people didn't play the first game. That first game was hardly anybody touched it. Um, there was a ton of people yearning for the remaster, but because they obviously just dropped two, they was just like, okay, well they're not going to remaster one. Okay, makes sense, I suppose. Feels weird that you're going to sequelize a game from that many years ago and continue the story. That's bold. Um, but yeah, for me, the way I'm reading into it is just, I don't know, man. Keep an eye on Sega and Microsoft. It's a very weird thing they got going there. Microsoft does like acquisitions. It would be a shock if they put in a bid for Sega and it was accepted. I don't want them to do that, if I'm being honest. I kind of want. I like Sega the way they are now. I think they've put them in a very healthy spot. Um, I don't think being acquired by anybody would do them any good.
What's the is this the scenario though where they get exclusive Sega games right now and then if they acquire them they put all those games on PlayStation like you know what I'm saying? It's
That
so
is a win-win for
fucking
fucking Sega. Because that
it's so bad shit.
Phil, why can't you just make sense? Why you gotta play like
It's
5D chess, my man?
it, it's I really do think that like I think that there's multiple divisions over there at Microsoft Gaming, and they all have different ideas for
Yeah,
what Xbox is going to be. And I
Mhm.
think that this is the division. Whoever got the fucking green light to happen on this, whoever pushed for this is probably old Aaron Greenberg and some of like the OGs over there who are like, we're keeping this fucking box alive. I'm gonna go down with the damn Marines over there in space. We're keeping this box alive if it's
He's
my
like,
dying
Halo shot
wish.
to shit. We'll take Warhammer instead.
Oh my God, man. What a funny fucking company. I don't know. Listen, do I want to look into this more and be like, ooh, wait, are you the FTC shit's over? Are you gonna start actually competing in the console space again? Like, yeah, definitely a part of me wants to
Mm.
take this to the bank and be like, oh fucking right. Nice. Now we're actually we're gonna have two premier consoles on the market long term.
Ugh,
But
that would be so fucking hilarious, though. When you actually open it up like that, right? Sega fell, and then it would be phoenixed by a falling console.
right. Yeah,
And
Sega
then they
goes
just turn
back to
around and
Sega.
go, and Sega ends up rebranding, and the next Xbox is technically a Sega.
Yeah, or Microsoft acquires Sega, becomes Sega, and then Sega's back totally independent, being Sega. Like it's, yeah, I don't know. It's such a funny
What a
that is
fucking time to be alive.
it's such a funny company to follow along with. But anywho, um, yeah. Did you have any other announcements you wanted to hit on there? Or you want to hop into our last story and wrap
No,
this
just
bitch
it's
up?
really cool to see Owlcat getting
Yeah.
additional support. Not only being given the opportunity to make another game, like they're so respectful of the IP. That's what doesn't get shot enough. Like there's a reason that they partnered with Pathfinder and knocked two games out of the park. Warhammer was that like perfect, like, oh, that would make sense. And it was like, okay, we'll see if they can do it. They did really well, Rogue Trader, to the point like Games Workshop, they're a little bit more loose with who they let take control of their stuff, but they wouldn't just willingly hand it out to anybody unless it's a mobile game. When you're putting it onto like consoles and stuff, they're a lot more kind of like, we need a little bit of, especially new titles as well. They've ported mobile mobile games to console. I don't want it to be sounding like they have entire quality control. They are cash grabby. They are GW allegedly. Um, but yeah, Owlcat deserve nothing but praise, and it's good to see them get greenlit for not only that new game but a second year of season pass content for Rogue Trader. And then yeah, it's great to see that original Space Marine game back because it was a fucking blast to play that back in the day. I hope it comes complete, feature complete, like exterminatus mode and everything. I don't want it to just be the single player. Give me that horde based game mode, man. That was the shit.
I,
But that is it for me.
I'm kind of debating squashing this last story because I think that it's kind of a bummer to spoil something that could be this exciting. You know what I mean? Like I don't it'd be
I
much
could have
cooler for
been such
people.
an arsehole there and done like a quote from that game.
Oh. Yeah.
But I won't.
Um,
That would have
what do
made
you
for a
think?
funny moment though.
Maybe we can talk about it, but I'll put like instead of the name of the game and the timestamp, I'll put like Summer Game Fest spoilers in the timestamp.
However you want to handle it, man. However we do it.
All right, so go ahead and hop off the video if you don't want potentially. I don't even know if this is going to happen, but hop off the video if you, because I get it. I don't like these spoilers and shit either, but it does feel like it's probably some of the biggest news of the day. It's probably
Hearing
worth
that some
reporting on.
game will appear at some showcase fucking sucks.
Yeah, it does. It does. You know what? Yeah, yeah. Nah, we're good. It's not. Yeah, let's not do that because it I feel the same way. That shit does suck. I wouldn't want um someone to accidentally fucking even though we saying spoilers. We'll cut that. That'll be our final
No,
story.
see, we do have a heart, guys. We think
Yeah,
big
I
E.
don't yeah, I don't really like I don't give a fuck about spoiling it for the publisher or the developer. Like it
If
is what it is. Like
they come out and say it themselves that it's going to be there, I think that's different. If it's going
oh,
to be like
totally.
we are appearing here, it's like yeah, that's fair game. If they're willing to spoil it for themselves, that's on them. You know, But hearing a rumor that a game, I don't know, that feels, yeah.
Even if it's not like I don't really have much of a heart for like my only outlook on this is the audience, is the people who listen. It's like the publishers and developers, like I don't know, so be it, figure it out. It's that's your job. I don't I just don't want my audience tuning into a
You
show
don't have a
and
heart,
I've
you have a fistful of cash instead of it. Figure
yeah,
that
it's
shit out between you all.
I don't know. And listen, I don't like leaks for publishers and developers.
Mm.
Like that is a bummer. Where like, your entire game, like a build of your game leaks and people are going
Yep.
through, combing through and, finding out plans. Like the Insomniac thing fucking sucked. But even then it's like I remember people saying you shouldn't report on it. You shouldn't. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's news. You know what I mean? Like if someone wants to report on it, they're totally within their right.
Yeah,
And obviously, if someone doesn't want to, they're totally within their right. But you can't say that nobody should report on that. That's news.
I mean, that falls a little bit differently though with me. I mean, that's fine to report on, but hearing the like somebody spoiling just one game or whatever for it to in an upcoming showcase, that just feels cheap for me
Well,
personally
that's the thing.
as a person. Whoever like digs that information out and is like, yeah, man, that's gonna get me my. I'm not saying us if we were to report it. I'm saying the person who originally did it is just a shitty. I don't know. It just feels weird.
Once again, like I don't even mind someone reporting on it per se. Like I don't look at anybody who reported on that in a negative
Oh, I
light
will.
necessarily. But my thing is like it's I just don't want someone to I just don't want my audience, the audience that we've built up here to you get what I'm saying? I don't know. It's all an audience thing more so than it is like developer publisher for me. I don't really
Oh yeah, no,
if
no.
you've built up an audience through leaks and shit and that's what your audience expects from you and then
Oh
you
yeah,
give a
yeah,
leak
yeah.
out to
No,
your
yeah, I get
audience, it's
that.
like,
I get that mindset.
yeah.
Yeah, I get that. But also, just for me
So
personally, I just don't like. I'd rather just get to the showcase and be wowed. That's a whole. What is the fucking point of showing up to a showcase if you know everything that's there? What
absolutely.
is that point? You may as well.
Absolutely.
Why show up? That's so stupid. It
Yeah,
would be like turning around and being like, okay, so I know this sports game is rigged and this team is going to win 1-0, but I'm going to still go there and cheer. It's like, well, you know the fucking outcome. What the fuck? That's
well, and that's the
stupid.
thing too about this specific leak is it's only a month out. So it's like, God, I mean, we only had a month to go. Like, why spoil? I understand saying, Naughty Dog has another game in development, and this is kind of what the game is going to be. We have no idea
Yeah,
when it's
that's
going to be
different. That's
shown.
to
It's
me, that's different.
yeah,
That
it's
falls on
somewhat
a different line.
investigative.
Yeah, that falls on a different line. When they get locked into the showcases, and the whole point is that it's the awe and the surprise and the feeling, and you're ruining that.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't like
Yeah,
that.
I agree, and I don't. I don't really know how to timestamp it if I'm being honest. Like that's my main thing. I don't want to spoil it with a timestamp where it's like, uh,
Because
I
how
don't
would
know
you
how.
go?
What
How
would I
because
say?
you would have to be vague about it, and if you're vague, somebody will click on it and be like, ah, for fuck's sake.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
If I say Summer
because
Game
you
Fest spoilers, is someone going to click on it and
yeah.
like, yeah, I don't really know. So yeah.
Jeff Keighley is really
Um,
bald. Wow.
exactly. Is it going to be said like they think I have some inside
Mm,
scoop that is pertaining specifically to the show more so
no,
than like
exactly.
yeah, it's so, um, we'll save that. I want everybody to be excited with that. And if it even happens, I am not an insider. I have no intentions of ever becoming an insider. So that whole thing could be complete bullshit. And I'll make sure the
Part of
doc
me
that we
hopes it
should.
is because I don't like things being spoiled. It's just
Right.
like, I hope that appears at some showcase, just not that one now. Because
Yeah.
it'd be like,
And that's on me, Loon. I'll make sure I don't put that in the document because I didn't even think about your well-being
my
with that. I was like, hey, well,
feelings,
I
my
just totally spoiled that
feelings.
shit for Loon. I'm sorry, man. That's on me. I'll make sure to not do that again because I would kind of be bummed to see that. So that's on me.
That's
Got to
fine. It
be more
happens.
thoughtful.
It happens. We all make mistakes.
Well, my people, I guess that's going to be it for the show. Nice, I mean, pretty long show. A lot
Two
of, lot
hours
of,
and 40 minutes.
God, dog. Yeah, that is a lot of.
Yep.
It's a lot of news here today. So
A lot
we
of
hope y'all
bullshit we talked about, huh?
hope y'all enjoyed the show, man. We're recording this on Thursday. It'll go up on Friday, so we'll miss Friday's news, and then that will be compiled up for next week, unless there's something really, really fucking big, and then I'll do a breaking whatever the fuck. But hopefully not, and hopefully we can save all that for next week. But
For the
yeah,
record,
apologize.
are we covering the showcases for next month? Or are you gonna
Fuck yeah.
skip any?
No, I mean, well, who knows what there is to skip? Definitely Summer Game Fest, Xbox, and if PlayStation's thing is real, then definitely PlayStation.
I mean, Nintendo's doing one
Um,
as well, right?
I don't give a fuck. I mean, we
That's what I was.
can if
That's
you
what I
want
was.
to.
That's what I was pertaining to. Are there any that we'll be skipping?
So I have a work event on June 14th. When is Xbox Showcase? Showcase 25. June 8th. Okay, so we definitely got that one. And I'm assuming Summer Game Fest Showcase 2025, June 6th. So yep, we're good. We got both of those. Um, yeah,
Damn, they're quite
definitely.
close together.
Yeah, I think they do. It's all under the Xbox or on under the Summer Game Fest umbrella at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, Keeley, he monopolized the showcase industry.
I mean, you can hate him all you want. I'm not saying you, because I think we're. I think he's alright. He's an alright human being. You can hate him all he wants, but he picked up a torch, and if he didn't, the fuck would we have? E3 died. What would it just be? The publisher, the platform holders, and the odd indie thing? Like, I don't know. I'm kind of thankful for him carrying that part of the industry, even if it is. I don't know. A lot of it does play into his ego, but you know, that is what it is. I'd rather have that than nothing.
I think I've talked about it before, but Keeley is probably his show on G4. I believe it was so G4.
I think so.
I know it was X Play and then G4 TV. I forget the name of his specific show, but it was like it was the first podcast that I ever listened to. Really, it was essentially a podcast. Um, Tina, I can't remember all the names, but Tina Fey. No, Tina Fey is an actress, right? I'm forgetting names, but it was Keeley and two chicks, and they would just sit and take calls and like just talk about games, like without all the theatrics and skits and all that. It was just like literally just talking about games. It was really fucking cool and ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I remember watching that and being like, dude, that would fucking rule to do that for a living. Because I never liked that other shit. Like I never really was into super skits and unnecessary humor and fart jokes. Like even as a kid, I didn't really find that shit funny.
No,
Um,
no. That's why I hate Borderlands. That's why I hate Borderlands comedy, and I'm so vocal about it. I really don't think it's written particularly well. But yeah, that aside,
no.
the thing I was more touching on, the thing that bums me out about him is that with it being so big, he has kind of a little bit lost that human touch with how they were like trying to hurry people along. And I get that you need to keep that show moving, but I don't know, man.
Mhm.
There's nothing
I
else
agree.
like it. Like let the whole point of gaming as well. Like it's an art form for one, but it's so much passion. And for you to be like, basically turning around to Christopher Judge and be like, "Yeah, can you stop thanking people?" It's just like, man, that's shitty. Come on, man.
Especially if you want to call it the awards.
Yeah,
Like if you call it the, winner showcase, then fine. But awards
yeah.
and you got to
It's
give
just
people
like,
their
come
moment
on,
to get their
man.
bars off.
No, exactly. And that's the kind of thing that bummed. And that's what I was. That's the link I was saying with his like ego thing. I don't think he's like entirely ego driven, but that kind of thing of like, just take the hit, man. Just let people talk about it. Like it
Well, and
doesn't. It's not going to hinder your ability to fucking gain ads. If anything, it will enhance your ability to fucking gain ads because your show will be longer. Like, come on, Jesus
well,
Christ.
and isn't it's not on network television
No,
anywhere in the
it's on.
world, is it? It's
No,
all,
it's all
all
on
through the
fucking
internet.
YouTube and Twitch. It's all streamed. It's not on any.
So it doesn't matter how long it is.
No, exactly. And that's why it annoyed me when that happened. And that's the kind of thing like we all have negative quirks about ourselves. And that's something I do find negative about him. I hope he does get that better because I don't know that it because they end up putting down notes the year after of basically saying, yeah, don't make your
Wrap it
speech,
up.
and it's just like I don't like that aspect of it.
Well, yeah,
But
and it's also go ahead.
the thing is that having that or it not existing at all, I would rather have it exist because I do find it a
Totally.
special showcase, award show, however you want to wrap it up. It's I don't know, it just feels so cozy in December. Summer Games Fest, I'm not as like locked in and like excited for. It's like, yeah, I'll tune in and stuff. But I don't know. The Game Awards has been like a yearly tradition for me because it just feels like it's a perfect tie to the end of the year and just having like an entire night dedicated about everything that makes this industry great.
Yeah. I never gave a fuck about the awards until I did an awards show prediction or whatever and predicted the winners and it did well and I was like, well, fuck. I guess that's a new annual
I
tradition. And
missed
then
the first year, but tuned into every year after that.
of the Game Awards
Mm-hmm.
from Dragon Age Inquisition 2014.
They didn't. Yeah, that was the first one, right? You did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
I
the
didn't
first
watch that. I
whatever.
remember seeing it in headlines and being like, "Oh, okay."
People dog that, but it's like the other choices. What
Oh
the
yeah,
fuck?
no, but it was just that kind of thing of like
Wasn't good.
Dragon Age Inquisition. Like I loved it. I didn't think it was going to win Game of the Year. Kudos.
Yeah, yeah, there weren't like. I guess you could go Sunset Overdrive, The Evil Within, Shadow of one of the Shadow of
Mordor.
War, Shadow of Mordor. You didn't have a ton of options in
No.
2014. You had Bayonetta 2 in 2014, I think. You had yep, I'm kind of drawing a
Yeah,
blank.
no, there wasn't wasn't a good healthy amount of competition. I would have gone with Shadow
No.
of Mordor personally.
Yeah, I think that would have been a
That
fine
kind of
choice.
booted the door down of movie based games can still be taken fairly, you know, seriously. Couldn't think of the word. She had Alien Isolation around about that time as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was 2015. That would have been the following year, if
Other
I'm
than it
not
getting
mistaken.
kneecapped by IGN or whoever it was,
Ryan
allegedly.
McCaffrey, my guy.
Fucking Christ, dude.
Bro, Ryan McCaffrey, I'm so surprised that he's still at IGN. I mean, I know we're just rambling at this point. I that is stunning. He must be getting paid, son, because he is like the guy for IGN for years, and he could have left easily when Colin and Greg and all them did and started his own thing, like how Gersman does, and just do a fucking solo show. And that dude he's covered Xbox since the ground floor, man. He started that Xbox. Man, was it the official Xbox magazine or whatever? Whatever it was, he was ground floor of covering OG Xbox and covered it all the way through. And still, I see him out there every now and then. He'll throw out a tweet where it's just like hanging on to that little thread of hope about, I don't know. It's interesting. They could go back to this exclusive pattern. It's like I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but it's just he's a true blue fucking Xbox fan. Like OG did it before it became like something where, I don't know. I respect the OGs. I really do. So shout out to Mr. McCaffrey over there at the old IGN. I remember that Alien Isolation review and I was like, oh damn. Okay, this game might not be that great. And then it ends up becoming like this cult hit.
Yep.
But Loon, that's enough of the rambling for today for the Ramble Report. We hope you all enjoyed the shizzo. And
Yeah, you can't be worried about long form content going away. That was almost 3 hours.
yeah, man, I hope people understand the decision there. I always get so bummed about having to but
Mm-hmm.
you gotta make changes. Like you just can't keep doing the same thing and just be like, "Oh, it's not working again." And we do it again and it's not working again. Maybe the next time we do it it'll work. It's like, "No, something's got to give and we'll see if this is the thing that gives." Because my whole thought process on it, not it will we'll get the fuck out of here. But my whole thought process on it was maybe people are watching all the shorter clips
Yeah.
and then just completely skipping the long form, and maybe that's tanking viewership in general. And which I totally understand people doing that. Like I don't expect people to watch everything. I don't want people to watch everything, but I want people to I don't know. I want everything to feel like it's its own unique piece of content,
Mm.
and
Not
I don't want to like,
rehashing and stuff.
yeah, um, yeah.
That's fair.
So we'll see, guys. I once again, I make a lot of incorrect decisions. I pivot nonstop back and forth. So,
Maybe this is your
who's
McCaffrey moment. That's what we can have.
yeah, it's just total collapse of Game and
The
Ramble.
MM, the
Fucking
McCaffrey moment.
pitchforks are gathered around the Game and Ramble headquarters, and they're like, bring back Game and Ramble Radio, or we riot. We're gonna cancel your Patreon that doesn't exist, and we're gonna cancel your YouTube memberships that don't exist. Um, I don't know, guys. I just trying the best I can. I, I, golly, I got to get the fuck out of here. Last thing
I've
is,
booted up Cookie Clicker.
I, I really do think all the time about, man, I wish it was kind of the old school legacy media days and I could just
Mm.
go work at one of those companies because I don't think I'm the guy. Like I think I got to be a role player. I can't be like the guy, the decision maker guy. I would work so much better if someone else was making the decisions and I was just, if I can be the content guy, like if you let me be the EIC or whatever, but I guess that would be kind of what I'm doing here. Anywho, if you let me be the creative guy where it's just nothing but creative games and all shit like that, I'll be golden in that role. But I can't be the guy that's like making the hard cuts and all that shit. I don't think I have leadership qualities, man. I don't think I have the leader skill badge equipped on my character class.
We'll get there. We'll get there. You'll level it up.
Yeah. So I guess this is step one of leveling up leadership to level two. Got to make a hard cut. And
You
now
just
hopefully my
remember
achievement
to
will
equip
pop.
your luminers. That's all you got to do. You keep forgetting.
Yeah. My Luminas have not been equipped since 2019 when I first started this fucking thing. Um, but we appreciate it, guys. And hopefully you're not angry at me. I try my best, man. I really, really do. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about everything. News stories, obviously the future of the channel, and any frustrations you have, go ahead and throw them away. Um, I hope, yeah. Anyways, I appreciate it. I could keep on doing this over and
I
over,
don't
and
think anyone's gonna be bummed
it's
out. I think people understand. Don't be so hard on yourself. There's gonna be content
uh,
around the corner as usual. So it's not like we're
too
going
much.
anywhere. We just gave you 3 hours of that. So like I said, plenty of long form and short form.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, guys. Well, I appreciate it, y'all. Loon, I know it's like unbelievably late your time because it's already unbelievably late my time. So, apologies, my friend.
It's all good.
Apologies, apologies. I will see you all in the very near future, probably tomorrow and the next day and the day after that because it's way too much of this fucking horse shit. We're trying. We appreciate it. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.
See you later.